1988. I started as an independent producer. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 is so well written. In the corridor of the tube-shaped building filled with the smell of fireworks, the white walls were covered with oil smoke. In the crowded corridor, before reaching the door of the house, Chen saw Hachiko running towards him with his tail wagging. Hachiko ran to Chen Shiping's feet, raised his front paws to scratch, raised his head and barked. Chen Shiping stretched out his hand to rub Hachiko's head, but saw Tao Human coming out of the room, standing at the door, and looking at him with a red face. Tao Human had two braids hanging in front of her chest, her pretty face smiling, like a shy flower waiting to bloom. Seeing this scene, Chen Shiping's hand that was about to touch the dog's head stopped immediately. Hachiko tilted his head and squinted his eyes to welcome the owner's touch, but he waited for a long time and didn't get it. He looked up and found that the owner had left him and ran to the mistress, running faster than him. Hachiko whimpered a few times, looking at Chen Shiping and Tao Human hugging each other. It was too bullying for the dog. In the warm and tidy single room, Chen Shiping looked at the table full of dishes, and his heart was warm. For a moment, he felt that he was not a human. Hachiko barked at the right time. Chen Shiping, are you scolding me? Okay, I'll stew you today. Tao Human looked at Chen Shiping, who was holding the dog's head and arguing with helplessness and amusement, and reached out to pull him to wash his hands. In the enamel basin printed with peony flowers, Tao Human rubbed Chen Shiping's white and tender hands between his fingers, whispering that he was so grown up and still arguing with a dog. Tao Human suddenly stopped washing her hands while talking, sniffed with her small nose, turned her head, and glanced at Chen Shiping. What's wrong? Chen Shiping asked puzzledly. Tao Human hesitated for a moment, shook her head gently and said, nothing, wipe your hands and eat. Chen Shiping felt inexplicably flustered, and the ribs didn't smell so good when he ate them. If Chen Shiping had not gone to Shanghai after returning from Cannes this time, he would have chosen to live and get married with Tao Human honestly, but now he finds that he seems to really like Chen Hang. Chen Shiping doesn't know what to do. He can't see his heart clearly. He is a little inflated, a little greedy, and a little timid and afraid of losing. After all, he is just a mortal, with all 7 emotions and 6 desires, and he can't reach the realm of a saint. Is it not to your taste? The ribs were not stewed for enough time, so they are not as delicious as before. Tao Human looked at Chen Shiping's poor appetite. She didn't complain, but was annoyed that she didn't cook the dish well. No, it's delicious. Chen Shiping picked up a piece of ribs and put it in his mouth, and chewed it hard, and the smile on his face gradually increased. Why think so much? If you can't figure it out, don't think about it. Time will give the answer. After dinner, Chen Shiping lay on the small bed holding up the palm door trophy, and said to Tao Human, is it beautiful? Tao Human looked at the trophy shining under the light and said, beautiful. Chen Shiping stuffed the trophy into Tao Human's hand and said, then you help me keep it. Tao Human looked at the trophy in her hand and said, there is no place to put it at home. Let's buy a bookshelf later. Well, you decide. Chen Shiping looked at the ceiling in silence for a while and suddenly said, Zio Beike, if I become a bad person one day, will you still like me? What? Tao Human, who was thinking about where to put the bookshelf at home, turned her head to look at Chen Shiping and asked puzzledly, what did you just say? Nothing. Chen Shiping sat up and smiled at Tao Human and said, I'm going to take Hachiko for a walk. You've got to pack the luggage. Then you should go quickly, otherwise Hachiko will cry again. Tao Human smiled and pushed Chen Shiping, and the smile on his face disappeared after he went out. Looking at the golden palm trophy in her hand, Tao Human was silent for a long time. Finally, she put the trophy on the desk and began to help Chen Shiping pack the luggage he brought back. After the box was opened, 2 boxes inside caught her attention. Tao Human picked up the box and her mouth suddenly curled up slightly. In one box was a pink crystal necklace, and in the other box was a set of cosmetics. Tao Human looked at the crystals shining under the light, and the original resentment in her heart dissipated a lot. She couldn't help complaining, why can't you give it to me in person? Not long after, Chen Shiping came back from walking the dog and saw the 2 boxes on the table. He smiled and said to Tao Human, "Why don't you put it on? What if you gave it to someone else?" Tao Human raised her neck proudly and said, "Please put it on for me." Chen Shiping walked over and put the crystal necklace on Tao Human's neck. The pink crystal was particularly beautiful on Tao Human's fair neck. Tao Human turned around and looked at Chen Shiping and asked, "Does it look good?" "It looks good, especially beautiful." Chen Shiping looked at Tao Human with some fascination and couldn't help but hug her in his arms. Tao Human felt Chen Shiping's warm chest and the anger in her heart slowly dissipated. As long as Chen Shiping was not like Zhang Yimou, she would not bother with him. "I want to write a novel and I need a little inspiration and practice," Chen Shiping suddenly said while hugging Tao Human. Tao Human listened to Chen Shiping's heartbeat in his chest, blushed and hummed, and then was picked up by Chen Shiping and rolled onto the bed. Hachiko, who was lying on the ground panting, glanced at the shameless 2 people, raised his paws to cover his eyes, and crawled under the table. The next day, Chen Shiping got up early to go to Beijing Normal University for class. He had been absent for nearly a month, and now he had to show up in class. As soon as Chen Shiping arrived in the class, he was surrounded by classmates. First, they congratulated him on winning the award, and then they were curious about whether Paris was fun. Yuhua also asked Chen Shiping if he had brought back any gifts, so Chen Shiping finally agreed to treat him to dinner in the evening before he let him go. After the chat, Yuhua thought of the topic he had talked about with Mo Yan that day and curiously asked Chen Shiping if he planned to continue adapting novels into movies. Chen Shiping shook his head and said, "My novel is not finished yet, and I have no plans to make a movie for the time being." Yuhua immediately said, "It's not your own, it's other people's novels. There are so many classmates in the class, haven't you thought about adapting ours? Go and win another Palme d'Or." As soon as Yuhua finished speaking, the classmates in the class turned their eyes to Chen Shiping. Although most of the classmates in the class had not written a long novel, they could also adapt short stories. Yuhua continued, "Liu Heng from the literary cadre class next door, his novel was taken away and adapted by Zhang Yimou. He is from the Zion Film Studio and is competing with your Beijing Film Studio, right? Don't you have any ideas?" Liu Heng's Fuxi? Chen Shiping was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Zhang Yimou to start preparing for Judao so quickly. Is this for Venice or Cannes? However, Chen Shiping remembered that Zhang Yimou used Judao to impact Cannes, but now because of his appearance, he didn't know if he would change his mind and impact Venice. At this time, everyone started to discuss it. Basically, they had seen Fuxi and were very clear about the plot. They were all guessing how Zhang Yimou would shoot it, whether he would replicate the miracle of red sorghum and win the award again. Chen Shiping did not participate in the discussion. After thinking silently for a while, he gave up the idea of competing with Zhang Yimou and decided to finish his novel first. Venice will give birth to the first Chinese language film Golden Lion Award this year. There are only 2 months left. Neither he nor Zhang Yimou has a chance, so there is no need to compete for this title. Chen Shiping sat in the corner, looking at the relationship between the characters on the manuscript paper, thinking about how to sort it out again. Yuhua came over to take a look and said, "Have you thought of a name for this novel?" Chen Shiping nodded and said, "I have thought of it. It's called Red Wall." "What a weird name, a red apricot out of the wall?" Yuhua asked in confusion. Chen Shiping smiled and said, "It's the red wall of the capital, not the red apricots going out of the wall, but your understanding is almost the same." Chen Shiping's new novel is based on the wasted city, but the background and characters have been changed to the capital. It's not good to continue using the name Wasted City. After thinking about it, I decided to use the name Red Wall. If you say which city is the most sick, then the capital is definitely the first. The courtyards, alleys, and outsiders gather to form the village in the city. People who grew up in these different environments are confused and decadent, and their youth is chaotic. Their mental illness and pain far exceed those young people in the wasted city of Zion. After Yuhua sat next to Chen Shiping and read his second edition manuscript, he couldn't help cursing. "Damn, it's so well written. I want to write a long novel too. Please read it again." There are very few readers and collections now. Sanjiang is hopeless. I want to push it hard. There is still a little gap at present. I hope everyone can continue to support it. Thank you all for your support. Chapter 52. What you wrote is too explicit. At night, Chen Shiping bent over the desk and wrote with his head down, with a table lamp with a green shaded hand. Tao Human was lying on the bed, flipping through the manuscript that Chen Shiping had finished, turning her head to look at Chen Shiping from time to time. Chen Shiping was now writing the third draft, and unlike simple copying, the difficulty of writing this time was still not small. So Chen Shiping always wanted to write better and better, and he was just short of thinking about every word sentence by sentence. After a long time, Chen Shiping felt his hands were sore. Just as he put down the pen and prepared to move his wrists, Tao Human took the initiative to pull his hands over and help him massage them. A director from Shanghai TV contacted me. Chen Shiping asked curiously, "Ask you to shoot a TV series?" Tao Human smiled and nodded and said, "Guess what the script is? You will never guess it." Chen Shiping could definitely guess, but Tao Human was so happy now, it was better to pretend that he couldn't guess it, so as not to spoil her fun. "How can I guess it? Tell me quickly." Tao Human bit Chen Shiping's hand and said, "Guess. It's a role that I have a special affinity with. You can definitely guess it." Chen Shiping guessed randomly in Tao Human's expectant eyes. "You opera." "No, it has a special affinity with me," Tao Human said, pointing at herself. Chen Shiping pretended to think for a while, and finally said in surrender, "I really can't guess. Zyobake, just tell me." "You almost guessed it." Tao Human happily shook Chen Shiping's arm and said coquettishly, "Guess again. You are so smart that you will definitely guess it." Chen Shiping pretended to be surprised and said, "Zyobake. Yeah, you guessed it right." Tao Human hugged Chen Shiping's neck excitedly and said, "I knew you would definitely guess it. Are we destined to be together? You call me Zyobake every day. There is really a director who wants me to play Zyobake." Chen Shiping looked at the excited Tao Human and laughed. Fortunately, she didn't say the answer directly, otherwise her happiness would at least disappear by half. The two hugged each other for a while before they separated and did their own things. Tao Human will go to Shanghai for an audition in a few days, and Chen Shiping is not worried about her audition. The role of Zyobake belongs to her. A few days later, Tao Human went to Shanghai and won the role without any surprises, and then she was directly seconded by Shanghai TV station. Chen Shiping was filled with resentment because he was sent to the crew to shoot without even a chance to come back. Without Tao Human, Chen Shiping and Bagang had no food to eat, and neither the man nor the dog wanted to eat boiled noodles. In addition to the problem of eating, the small single room also became deserted, and Chen Shiping didn't want to go back. At this time, Chen Shiping realized that Tao Human had completely become a part of his life. Chen Shiping suddenly didn't want Tao Human to continue filming, otherwise what would he do if he went out to film for such a long time? But when he called Tao Human at night, Chen Shiping suppressed his selfish thoughts again. After a few words of concern on the phone, Chen Shiping hung up. He returned to the dormitory alone to concentrate on his creation. It was almost July, and Chen Shiping planned to finish writing Red Wall before the school holiday. The students in the literature class had published several short stories in 2 semesters, but Chen Shiping had not published a novel because he was busy with the movie. If he didn't write any more works, the teacher would fail him. Of course, this is not the main reason. The reason why Chen Shiping is anxious is that the heat of winning the Palme d'Or has not passed yet, and the probability of his novel being published is relatively high. After all, many details in Red Wall are too explicit. After a period of time, Chen Shiping played a game of football with Yuhua and others every day after school, then went out for dinner and drinks, and finally went home to write novels alone. After a busy half-month, Chen Shiping finished revising the 3rd edition and felt relieved. But he had to take it to school to show the teacher whether it was good or not. Although Yuhua said it was well written, Chen Shiping didn't quite believe him. Because he always said that sentence, it seemed that he had said it to all the classmates in the class, and it was almost a catchphrase. When Chen Shiping came to school with a thick manuscript, he was stopped by Yuhua and Mo Yan before he found the teacher. The manuscript was also snatched away by these two people to take a look. Chen Shiping wanted to persuade them not to read it, but he couldn't stop it. In the end, he just hoped that they could sleep well at night after reading it. Yuhua read very quickly. He passed a page to Mo Yan. After he finished reading it, Mo Yan did not return it to Chen Shiping after he finished reading it, because Liu Zhenlan also came to join in the fun and lined up at the back to read the manuscript. The three of them coughed while reading, and their butts moved around in the chairs, as if their butts were burned. The other students in the class became curious, so they also lined up at the back to read Chen Shiping's new novel. Chen Shiping looked at more than a dozen people passing his new novel one by one, and he felt a little happy in his heart, but these guys occasionally looked up at him with strange eyes. Chen Shiping knew that they were surprised at the scale of the novel, and it was inevitable that he felt a little embarrassed. Suddenly, he felt like everyone was passing around pornographic books in high school. It wasn't long before class time came. Zhenbang came to the classroom with the textbooks. As soon as he came in, he was surprised by the scene in front of him. It was really strange today. Why are they all reading so quietly? Zhenbang asked, and found out that they were reading Chen Shiping's new novel. He immediately became interested and put down the lesson plan. As the last person to pass the novel, he started reading. Everyone in the class was reading novels. Only Chen Shiping was bored and sitting by the window watching people playing football on the playground. The classroom was very quiet, and occasionally there were a few students who read fast and urged the students in front of them to read faster. Everyone was immersed in the novel. Although many plots were described very explicitly, the story and characters made these writers resonate. They could clearly feel the morbid depression and confusion from the text. Their youth was also like this. Well, of course, their youth did not have so many unspeakable things in the book. Time passed by little by little. Yuhua was the first to finish reading. After handing the last piece of manuscript paper in his hand to Mo Yan, he sat there for a long time without standing up. After a long time, Yuhua's slightly red face slowly faded from the bright red blood color, and he took a deep breath to recover from the shock. Mo Yan's reaction at this time was similar to his, and his feelings in his heart were even stronger than Yuhua. He didn't think there was anything wrong with the explicit plots written by Chen Shiping. This was normal literary creation. It was just a little annoying that it was written too realistically and made him too involved. Yuhua had recovered by now. He walked to Chen Shiping and asked in a low voice, the second version of the manuscript didn't have so many details. Is your writing too explicit? Will it be criticized for being vulgar? Chen Shiping explained, it's okay to remove those, but don't you think it's incomplete? Yuhua nodded in agreement. The third version was indeed much more shocking than the second version he had read before. The character's mental illness was described more deeply, and there was a feeling of hitting the heart. It's really well written, but it's so pornographic. I don't think any magazine would be willing to publish it. Yuhua patted Chen Shiping on the shoulder and said, you will definitely be asked to delete and revise your manuscript when you submit it. Try it first, just in case you don't need to delete it. Then you will definitely have no chance of submitting it to Contemporary. You can try Harvest. If Mr. Bay approves it, he may publish it for you. Chen Shiping touched his chin and felt that Harvest was indeed a good choice, but he would definitely go to Contemporary to ask Mr. Qin Zhaoyang, who was his mentor. If Qin Zhaoyang can't handle it, he can submit it to Xiaohuo and see if Mr. Bay will allow it to be published. Chapter 53 Who Came Out of the Red Wall. The afternoon sun shone in from the classroom window, forming a beautiful Tyndall effect in the dusty classroom. Chen Shiping looked at the beam of light with some fascination, thinking that it would be great if his mind could be so focused. The classroom was very noisy. The students in the literature class had finished reading the novel and were discussing the plot of the novel. Only Chen Shiping, the author, was forgotten and sat alone in the corner. Some people think that Chen Shiping's writing is too direct, revealing, and vulgar, and he is too obsessed with sensory culture. Some people also think that Chen Shiping's analysis of the mental disease of contemporary literati is very thorough and profound. The crowd was divided into two camps with mixed praise and criticism, and Chen Shiping just listened and did not refute or affirm the views of one camp. It is natural to write it down for people to evaluate, but such a debate is meaningless to Chen Shiping. Yuhua was also discussing with them. When he was thirsty, he sat down next to Chen Shiping and took a big sip of water from his cup. After taking a big sip of water and moistening his throat, Yu Hua seemed to have regained his fighting spirit. Just as he was about to stand up and continue the argument, he suddenly sat down and turned his head to look at Chen Shiping, who was hiding. "I say, don't you have anything to say? They say you are vulgar, so you don't want to refute." Chen Shiping shrugged and said, "There are 1,000 Hamlets for 1,000 audiences. Even now, some people still regard Jinping Mei as a pornographic book." Hearing Chen Shiping compare his book with Hamlet and Jinping Mei, Yu Hua couldn't help laughing, and he admired his confidence in his heart. But speaking of Jinping Mei, the protagonist you wrote has many similarities with Zeman King. Chen Shiping did not comment. The plotline of Wasted City itself is similar to Jinping Mei, and the characters are also similar to Zhuang Sheng Mengdi in Yuan opera. Liu Jia must have referred to it when he wrote Wasted City. Chen Shiping took it and rewrote it, so he naturally referred to it. There are still 3 different versions of Jinping Mei on his desk at home, one of which has exquisite illustrations. It's just that Chen Shiping didn't design the plotline and characters like the original version. He still made a lot of changes. When Liu Jia wrote this book, he was too angry and depressed because he himself was in a difficult situation at that time. Chen Shiping was different from him. He didn't immerse himself in the feelings, but described it from a calmer bystander's perspective, removed many bad tastes of self-admiration, and described the satire and criticism more positively, rather than a morbid unconscious groan. At this time, the teacher of the literature class, He Zhenbang, also came over and sat opposite Chen Shiping and said, "This article Red Wall is really well written. The high unity of spirit and flesh is not simply a vulgar description. You have a good grasp of this scale. However, there are problems." He Zhenbang changed the subject and said, "Writing the decadence of culture and the decadence of literati too ugly and dark will inevitably offend a group of literati who claim to be literati." Chen Shiping naturally knew the result of this, just like Jinping Mei was also a banned book in the Ming and Qing dynasties. The problem was that the other side of the literati was written out. He Zhenbang was not here to criticize Chen Shiping. As a teacher of the literature class, he was very happy to see his students write excellent works. So he took the initiative to point out, the novel is good, but the scale is indeed a bit large. If you want to publish or publish it, some parts must be deleted, or some descriptions must be blurred as much as possible, especially those straightforward words. Yu Hua couldn't help but nod and said, "It is too direct. It's better to be vague." Chen Shiping suddenly thought of the online novels he had read in his previous life. The authors in the novels were all talented and were able to describe sex without using sensitive words. Maybe he could learn from them, but he didn't have to be as obscure as them. After all, he didn't have so many restrictions. The discussion in the class was still going on, and Chen Shiping had secretly packed up the manuscript and slipped away. No matter what their evaluation of the novel was, it was not convenient for him to participate. Once he expressed his thoughts, he would be scrutinized. It would be better to shut up and let them guess for themselves. Maybe they could make different reading comprehension and form a set of standard answers. The football activity after school was naturally cancelled. Chen Shiping was about to go home with his briefcase when he saw Chen Hang standing at the gate of Beijing Normal University wearing a white dress and carrying a small bag. The Shanghai Theatre Academy was already on summer vacation, and Chen Hang came to Beijing immediately after the vacation. She hadn't seen Chen Shiping for more than a month, and she began to feel nervous about their relationship. During this period, Chen Shiping's winning of the Palme d'Or had completely fermented, and he became a celebrity master in the literary and artistic circles, and the gap between him and her, a student of the Shanghai Theatre Academy, was getting bigger and bigger. Chen Hang knew that the status between her and Chen Shiping was completely unbalanced, and the only hope she could have was that she could still have the upper hand emotionally. Chen Shiping came to Chen Hang, looked at her hair stuck to her cheeks by sweat, and couldn't help saying, "Why are you waiting for me here? It would be better to find a shady place to stay. I miss you, and I want to see you right away." Chen Hang raised her hand to put her sweaty hair behind her ears, wiped the sweat off her face with the back of her hand, and smiled particularly brightly, as if she didn't care about the hot weather at all. Regardless of whether Chen Hong did it on purpose or was really eager to see him, Chen Shiping was moved. Men are just like that. Where do you live? Go back and rest first, then I'll take you to dinner, Chen Shiping said with concern. I came here right after I got off the train, and I haven't found a place to live yet. Chen Hong's eyes suddenly dimmed, and she pursed her lips and said with some sadness, I dare not go to the guest house in the factory, for fear that someone will spread gossip about you. What a considerate and coquettish sister. Chen Shiping directly pulled her and said, don't stay in the guest house. Go to the Jingcheng Hotel. Chen Hong was pulled away by Chen Shiping, with a happy smile on her face, but she still persuaded, it's too expensive, just find a guest house, don't waste money. I'm willing to spend money for you. Hearing Chen Shiping's words, Chen Hong suddenly let go of the burden in her heart, and her eyes were full of relief and joy. On the way to the city, Chen Hong was like a lark, constantly asking Chen Shiping about his recent life, as if to make up for the time he was not with. After arriving at the Jingcheng Hotel, Chen Shiping booked a room. When he sent Chen Hong upstairs, he suddenly noticed that she only brought a small bag with her. You didn't bring any clothes? Chen Shiping asked, looking at the bag in Chen Hong's hand that couldn't even hold a piece of clothing. Chen Hong blushed and said, I wanted to come earlier, but the time I bought the ticket was too tight. I was delayed by the teacher for a while, so I didn't go back to the dormitory to get my luggage. Chen Shiping looked at her helplessly, but he was very happy in his heart. Chen Hong's words made him feel an inexplicable sense of vanity. Then let's buy a new one later, and then go to dinner. Chen Hong nodded happily, and then suddenly asked, what about the dog? Chen Shiping. How could he forget the dog? It's still locked up at home waiting for him to go back. Chen Shiping hurried back again, ready to leave the dog to Yuhua to take care of it for one night. Maybe he wouldn't go home tonight. In the hotel, Chen Hong looked around the room, and was quite satisfied with the environment here, but she was a little bored. When she saw Chen Shiping's bag left in the room, she couldn't help but curiously open it. When Chen Hong saw a stack of novel manuscripts in the bag, a hint of happiness flashed in her eyes. Chen Shiping was relieved to leave such an important thing here, which showed his trust in her. Bored, Chen Hong took out the manuscript and read it, wanting to see what novel Chen Shiping had written, and whether it would be adapted into a movie like Zusangan. Would she have a chance to act in it? Just like Chen Shiping said to her last time, he would take her to win the award next time. Red Wall. What a strange name. Chen Hong felt that Chen Shiping's name was meant to imply something, but it was just talking about himself. She was a virgin, and Tao Human was also honest and decent. Except for Chen Shiping, no one else fit the title of the book. Chen Hong couldn't help but chuckle, and immediately lay on the bed with the manuscript to read. After reading just a few chapters, her face turned red. Chapter 54. This thing has different postures? When Chen Shiping returned to the dormitory, it was the time for people to get off work and the building was very lively. Along the way, colleagues took the initiative to greet Chen Shiping. Chen Shiping smiled and responded, and ran home quickly. As soon as he opened the door, Hachiko ran out. Chen Shiping rubbed the dog's head, and took it downstairs to go to the normal university to find Yuhua. As soon as they reached the first floor, Hachiko was about to run out. Chen Shiping grabbed him tightly, and was about to slap him, when he heard someone calling him. Producer Chen, there is a call for you. Editor-in-chief Qin from the magazine. Most people in the corridor also heard it, and they were curious to ask if Chen Shiping had a new novel to publish. Chen Shiping smiled, and said that he didn't know whether he could publish it after writing it, and then dragged the disobedient Hachiko to answer the phone. Mr. Qin, what do you want to talk to me about? Chen Shiping asked politely, after answering the phone. Old Qin on the other end of the phone smiled and said, what else can it be? I heard that you wrote a new novel. Where are you going to publish it? Of course it's contemporary, but the scale is a little bigger this time. I don't know if it meets the requirements of contemporary times. Zhenbang told me on the phone, you can bring it to me first. Don't worry about the scale. I can't wait to see your new work. When Chen Shiping heard what Old Qin said, it was really hard to refuse. Old Qin had helped him a lot, and the old man called him in person, so he definitely couldn't refuse. After a little thought, Chen Shiping smiled and said, okay, then you wait for me at home. I'll go to your place for dinner tonight. Haha, add one more dish tonight. Come quickly. Kin Leo smiled and hung up the phone, turned to his wife and said, add one more dish tonight. Shipping is coming. Kin Zhaoyang's wife poked her head out of the kitchen and asked curiously, is that the one you talk about every day who writes novels and makes movies? Kin Leo nodded and said, bring out the wine that my little ma sent me last time and have a good drink tonight. Okay, wait. On the other side, Chen Shiping rushed to the dormitory of Beijing Normal University, threw the dog to Yuhua, and left in a hurry. Yuhua and Beigong stared at each other, and after a while, they snorted and turned their heads away at the same time. Chen Shiping rushed to the Beijing hotel, and knocked on the door of the room for a long time, but Chen Hong didn't come to open the door. Chen Hong in the room, was hurriedly packing the manuscript, and putting it back in her bag. Her face flushed, as if she was drunk. After putting the manuscript away, Chen Hong touched her hot cheeks, and took a break before opening the door. Are you asleep? Chen Shiping looked at Chen Hong with a blushing face, and didn't ask much. He just felt that she seemed more attractive, and made people want to take a bite. But it was already past 6 o'clock, and Chen Shiping didn't waste time. He went straight in, picked up his bag, checked the manuscript, and prepared to leave. Have something to eat in the evening. Editor-in-Chief Kin of Contemporary has asked me to read the manuscript. I can't accompany you tonight. After saying that, Chen Shiping left in a hurry, and Chen Hong didn't have time to say anything. Looking at the empty door, she felt empty and a little bitter in her heart. Chen Shiping's performance just now seemed to not pay attention to her at all. Originally, after reading the plots in the novel, she was still imagining whether something would happen in the evening. Now she knows that she is not as important as she thought. I thought he fell in love with me, but in the end I was just happy for nothing. Chen Hong was like a rose hit by frost, losing its former glory. When Chen Hong was in a daze, Chen Shiping suddenly appeared at the door again. Without saying a word, he looked at Chen Hong, who was in a daze, pulled her into his arms, hugged her and kissed her forcefully and unscrupulously. Chen Hong's mind was confused, and she let Chen Shiping hug her and kiss her, feeling that he wanted to eat her alive. The strong and domineering feeling made Chen Hong forget everything, and feel her body softened. Chen Shiping kissed for several minutes, and only let go of Chen Hong when he was about to lose control, then turned around and left quickly. Chen Hong, who suddenly fell into emptiness, subconsciously chased after him, only to see Chen Shiping's running back, and his triumphant laughter echoed in the corridor. Chen Hong, who was lying at the door, couldn't help but burst out laughing, and when Chen Shiping's figure disappeared in the corridor, she couldn't help but miss him in her heart. Chen Shiping's strength and dominance just now, as well as the unscrupulous demands, fascinated her, but what fascinated her even more was that Chen Shiping could be calm and restrained. Chen Hong suddenly felt that the way she treated Chen Shiping before might be wrong. On the other side, Chen Shiping bought some tea and fruits on the way to Qin Zhaoyang's house. This time he was too busy to pick a gift, but this kind of inexpensive thing might be better and seem closer. When Chen Shiping arrived, the food was already on the table. After apologizing repeatedly, he sat down and tasted it, then gave Mrs. Qin a thumbs up, and said it tasted like his grandmother's. Mrs. Qin smiled happily, and kept asking Chen Shiping to eat more. She also asked him if he had a girlfriend, and wanted to introduce him to one. Chen Shiping smiled, and said that he had a girlfriend, and silently added in his heart that he had two. After dinner, Chen Shiping was taken to the study by Qin Zhaoyang, and both of them drank tea and read manuscripts. Qin Zhaoyang was reading Chen Shiping's, and Chen Shiping was reading other submissions to Contemporary. Chen Shiping also found Yuhua's submission, and couldn't help laughing when he saw it. This kid has been submitting to Harvest recently, but he didn't expect to secretly submit to Contemporary. Chen Shiping was relaxed and happy while reading this. Qin Zhaoyang on the other side could not help but frown. He originally thought that the scale Chen Shiping mentioned was nothing, but now he realized that the scale was indeed difficult to control. At least it was unlikely to be published in Contemporary. Qin Zhaoyang felt that no domestic magazine would accept Chen Shiping's manuscript. Unless he deleted some content, it would not have a chance to be published. The target group of the magazine was very complex. If some things were too much, it would cause a bad influence. More than an hour later, Kinzao Wang put down the manuscript he had not finished reading and turned to look at Chen Shiping. Shipping, the novel is well written. Your study in the literature class is still very useful. I can see your transformation, but the scale is indeed too large. Hearing this, Chen Shiping knew that there was little hope of publishing the original text in contemporary, but he still had to ask. Do you mean that it needs to be revised if it is to be published? Kinzao Wang nodded and said, you need to delete a part, otherwise it cannot be published. Sure enough, Chen Shiping thought about it and said, I still want to publish the original text. Do you think it is possible to reap the rewards? Impossible. Kinzao Wang saw Chen Shiping's thoughts at a glance, adjusted his glasses and said, even Mr. Bei will not let you pass the manuscript. Don't think that the half of a man is a woman can be published. Your words should be much bolder. Chen Shiping. They are all about 6. How can there be a scale? This thing also has different postures. In fact, Chen Shiping also understood what Kinzao Wang meant. His words were indeed much bolder. Zhang Xianliang also used the description of that part in the book, while he was much more direct. Kinzao Wang glanced at Chen Shiping, who was not convinced, and said, do you know what Mr. Bei said about that book at the beginning? Chen Shiping shook his head. He was really curious about what Mr. Bei said. It's a bit pornographic, but it's well written and can be published. Kinzao Wang paused and said, if it were you, it would probably be well written, but too pornographic to be published. Chen Shiping smiled bitterly. Kinzao Wang was an old editor, and he didn't think it was good, which meant that it really had to be revised before it could be published. But he still had to struggle, otherwise Chen Shiping would be unwilling to give up. He would send it to Harvest and give it a try. It would be the best if it could be passed. If Harvest also rejected it, he would take it back and revise it, and use the writing skills of later generations to remove those sensitive words. In fact, Chen Shiping was not unwilling to revise it, but he felt that it was foggy after the revision, and it was difficult to show the character's morbidity of finding and numbing himself through carnal desire. Kinzao Wang knew that Chen Shiping was unwilling to give up, so he said, you copy the manuscript and I will help you send it to Mr. Bei. If it doesn't work, you just delete and revise it honestly, and I will send it to the next issue of Contemporary, and there is no need to submit it to Harvest. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, The Troubles of Happiness. In the quiet study, the warm yellow light was particularly soft, the teacup on the desk was emitting a faint tea fragrance, and the slowly rotating fan blew the white manuscript paper off its edge. Kinzao Wang and Chen Shiping sat at the desk and talked about novels. The old and the young would laugh happily when they talked about interesting things. Mrs. Qin, who was outside the study and was about to remind her husband to go to bed early, heard the laughter coming from inside, smiled helplessly and turned back to the bedroom to rest. Kinzao Wang tapped his fingers on the desk, looked at Chen Shiping and said seriously, Shiping, I have to remind you, don't become the character in your novel. Society is very tolerant, but also very demanding. Chen Shiping was slightly startled, then nodded and replied, I understand. Thank you for reminding me. Understanding and being able to do it are two different things. You are successful at a young age, so it is inevitable that you will be impetuous. Kinzao Wang continued with some emotion. Even the characters in the book will encounter disasters, let alone reality. The study fell into a brief silence. After a few minutes, Chen Shiping broke the silence and said goodbye to Kinzao Wang and left. After leaving Kinzao Wang's house, Chen Shiping wandered on the street for a long time, his mind full of novels. When he returned home very late, the empty small single room was dark, but Chen Shiping felt very warm. Turning on the desk lamp in front of the desk, Chen Shiping took out a new manuscript paper and began to copy the novel. This time Chen Shiping wrote very seriously, because this copy was sent to Mr. Bei. As the saying goes, a person's handwriting reflects his character, and Chen Shiping wanted to leave a good impression. When Chen Shiping finished copying 3 chapters and looked up, it was already dawn outside. Chen Shiping felt that his mind was a little fuzzy from copying books, so he rubbed his sore wrists, turned off the desk lamp, stretched his body, and prepared to take a nap. Not long after he lay down, he heard a dog barking outside, and they were banging on the door. "Shipping, open the door, I sent the dog back to you." Yuhua's voice sounded outside, and Chen Shiping sat up suddenly from the bed, and then he remembered that he had sent the dog to Yuhua yesterday. After getting up and opening the door for Yuhua, Hachiko ran in and surrounded Chen Shiping and barked a few times, as if complaining that he had left the dog to someone else yesterday. Yuhua came in with a bag of buns and stuffed them into Chen Shiping's hand and asked curiously, "What did you do last night? It seemed like you didn't sleep all night." Chen Shiping yawned and explained that he had met Qin Zhaoyang yesterday to discuss the publication of the novel. Chen Hang's face flashed through his mind, but he was quickly diverted by Yuhua's curiosity. "Have you been asked to make corrections?" Yuhua sat down on Chen Shiping's chair with a familiar look, crossed his legs and said, "We discussed it for a long time yesterday, and we all felt that your novel would definitely be rectified or even attacked." Chen Shiping frowned and asked, "Why?" Yuhua reached out and took out a bun from the bag in Chen Shiping's hand, took a bite of the bun and said, "Why else? Look at the literati in your book. Is there a good person? The cultural world is all sick in your perspective. Who are you implying?" Chen Shiping was speechless, sitting on the edge of the bed and eating the bun. After a while, he said, "Can't I imply myself? Okay. Just explain it this way when the time comes, and then let everyone examine you together. As long as they find something wrong, you can wait to be criticized." Yuhua ate the bun in one bite, patted Chen Shiping on the shoulder and said, "Mo Yan and I talked for a long time yesterday, and I felt that I still had to remind you. Fortunately, you were doing business last night, so I worried in vain. Don't let people associate novels with personal life, otherwise all the good things will be said to be your own inner secrets. You can't write anything else, but you have to write this." Chen Shiping, "Is it that serious? I didn't think so much." However, Chen Shiping couldn't help but feel a little worried when he thought of what happened to Leo Jaya after he published Wasted City. The novel has 400,000 words, and the comments criticizing and analyzing the novel have millions of words. People with pens will really write fiercely, peeling off your skin, cutting your flesh, breaking your bones bit by bit, and examining them bit by bit with a microscope. To some extent, writers are scarier than keyboard warriors. At that time, let alone doing anything out of the ordinary, even if you have this idea in your mind, you can't be discovered. Chen Shiping suddenly felt a little cold in his bones. No wonder Qin Zhaoyang reminded him last night. It's really not easy to mix in the literary circle, and it's far less tolerant than the entertainment industry. Damn, I should have known not to write this stuff earlier. Chen Shiping didn't regret it in his heart, but he was annoyed that he didn't consider the consequences before writing. It seems that I can only wait until the novel is published and the storm is over before I can have some fun. Originally, he wanted to add honor to himself, but in the end, it became a shackle. After eating buns with Yuhua, Chen Shiping went out to school for class. Before leaving, he called Chen Hang. The chat was not long and very unhappy. Unhappy is unhappy. Chen Shiping is unhappy too. He simply didn't bother to think too much. He finished the novel first, and then considered other things. In the next few days, Chen Shiping spent the rest of his time copying the novel except for completing the exams before graduation. After writing it, he went to find Qin Zhaoyang as soon as possible, but he didn't ask him to help send it to Mr. Bei, but planned to go to Shanghai in person. One is to visit this literary master, and the other is to see Xiaobei by the way. Qin Zhaoyang was also happy to be the middleman, and called Mr. Bei to make an appointment. Chen Shiping took the train to Shanghai to visit Mr. Bei the next day. In the distinctive old western style building, the tree planted in the yard is lush and leafy. Chen Shiping couldn't recognize what kind of tree it was, but he envied such an environment. Under the shade of the tree, Mr. Bei sat leisurely in a rocking chair, wearing reading glasses, and flipping through Chen Shiping's novel. Mr. Bay's old and kind face did not have much expression, and Chen Shiping could not tell what he thought of the novel, so he could only sit beside him honestly and did not dare to disturb him. Time passed little by little, and at noon, Mr. Bay put down the manuscript in his hand and invited Chen Shiping to have a meal at home. Stir-fried vegetables, braised lion's head, and soft and glutinous white rice were Mr. Bay's lunch. It was very light, but the taste was surprisingly good. Chen Shiping wondered if Mr. Bay's chef was the chef of a big hotel. After the meal, Mr. Bay took a nap before getting up, and then sat on the recliner in the yard to continue reading the novel. Chen Shiping still sat next to him like a primary school student. Time passed little by little, and when the sun was about to set, Mr. Bay finished reading the novel, took off his glasses, and stared at the green leaves in a daze for a long time, before coming back to his senses. "I'm sorry, I'm old and I can't keep up with the spirit." Mr. Bay looked at Chen Shiping and said, "How old are you this year?" 25. Chen Shiping answered honestly. Mr. Bay nodded and said, "It's good to be young, with ideas and passion." The novel is well written. Although it has the shadow of predecessors, it is also combined with the current social situation. It's a bit too decadent and too pessimistic, which is not a good thing. Chen Shiping nodded and replied, "What you said is that there are some difficulties in life when writing, and it is inevitable to substitute this emotion into the text." Mr. Bay hummed and did not ask Chen Shiping about his original intention and background of creation. He just pondered for a while and said, "It's okay to publish it, but some words should be written obscurely. The audience of the magazine is too complicated, and the impact on young readers should be considered." "I understand what you mean." Chen Shiping did not feel disappointed at all, and he had already made such preparations. After returning the manuscript to Chen Shiping, Mr. Bay said, "Take it back and revise it, and bring it back after you have revised it." Chen Shiping was happy in his heart, and he didn't expect that there would be another opportunity to ask for advice. Mr. Bay paused for a moment and smiled, saying to Chen Shiping, "You wrote Susanguan very well, and the movie is also good. You can submit more of your works to harvest in the future." After leaving Mr. Bay's house, Chen Shiping was both happy and annoyed. He was happy that the old man recognized him, but he was annoyed about whether to submit his work to contemporary or harvest after he finished his revision. Is this a happy worry? Chapter 56. Just do it. Under the tall sycamore tree, the broad leaves blocked out all the sunlight. In the telephone booth beside the tree, Chen Shiping was calling the paging station. It was too troublesome to have no mobile phone these days, so he could only rely on the pager. Tao Human was filming in Suzhou. It was too late today, so Chen Shiping could not make it there. He could only leave her a message saying that he would go tomorrow. The scenery in Shanghai is nice, and the unique Shanghai style is unique and charming, but I didn't appreciate it well the last time I came. Chen Shiping took the late Taoke taxi again. This time he was in a good mood, and was very interested in this taxi that was about to be eliminated. This three-wheeled taxi was eliminated very early in Shanghai, but other cities in China still had it until after the millennium. Each place has a different name. In Shanghai, it is still called a small turtle car. In Nanjing, it is called Mazda, and Chen Shiping doesn't know much about other places. When the slow little turtle car stopped in front of the guest house, it was almost dark. When entering the guest house, Chen Shiping's pager rang. Originally thought it was Tao Human's call back, but unexpectedly it was Chen Hang. After reading the message above, Chen Shiping was a little surprised that she returned to Shanghai. These days, Chen Shiping was busy copying books in class and rushed to Shanghai, so he didn't have much time to accompany Chen Hang. The little girl felt wronged, thinking that Chen Shiping was worried about his reputation and didn't want to continue with her. Now he came to Shanghai again, probably because he was really anxious. Chen Shiping called Chen Hang back using the phone of the guest house, told her the guest house where he lived, and went upstairs. Chen Shiping was not worried about his reputation. He didn't care about those, but Chen Hang always wanted to control him. If he was with her, this girl would definitely find a way to get promoted. Chen Shiping was anxious to publish a new novel, which would become the focus of the literary world. If Chen Hang took the opportunity to make a fuss, Tao Human would probably break up with Chen Shiping directly. Many times, fame is not only an honor, but also a bondage. If Chen Shiping was an ordinary person, no one would care if he changed girlfriends every day. Who would care about your business? Chen Shiping didn't wait in the room for long, and there was a knock on the door. As soon as Chen Shiping opened the door, Chen Hong rushed in with red eyes and hugged him. Chen Shiping quickly closed the door, then raised his hand and patted Chen Hong on the back. Don't you want to be with me? You left me alone in the capital. Chen Hong looked up at Chen Shiping, her little face full of grievance. Chen Shiping supported Chen Hong's shoulders and said, "No, I came to see Mr. Bei, and the time is relatively." Before Chen Shiping finished speaking, Chen Hong stood on tiptoe and kissed him on the mouth. Since there was no need to explain. Chen Hong has been worried these days, fearing that Chen Shiping would not want to be with her because of his reputation as a scholar. She didn't want to miss the opportunity that she had finally caught. Chen Shiping was pushed to the wall by Chen Hong, who kissed him on tiptoe and pulled his clothes clumsily with both hands. "I don't want fame anymore. Can't you be a little more domineering like that day?" Chen Hong panted and looked at Chen Shiping, her hands clumsily pulling at Chen Shiping's belt. The atmosphere in the room suddenly became hot and charming, and Chen Shiping was also really angry at Chen Hong's actions, so he simply didn't think about it so much. "Why do you always think so much and worry so much? Isn't it for fame and fortune to write novels and make movies, so that you can live more freely in the future? If you always worry about this and fear that, it's better to be an ordinary person." Chen Shiping picked up Chen Hong, and Chen Hong was startled. Then a smile appeared on her face, and she hugged his neck with both hands, and kissed him greedily. "I like you like this." Chen Hong bit Chen Shiping's ear and whispered, "I will be obedient, and I will do whatever you want me to do." Chen Shiping's ears were itchy, and he felt his heartbeat speed up. Chen Hong is really a beauty, and her voice is charming. Chen Shiping pressed Chen Hong on the white single bed, looked into her eyes and asked, "Aren't you afraid that I will take advantage of you and deny it?" Chen Hong bit her red lips and shook her head slightly, hugged Chen Shiping's neck and said, "I won't make a mistake." After that, Chen Hong pulled Chen Shiping and tried to raise her head to kiss him. At this time, the room had become dim, with only a faint light coming from the window. In the darkness, a red dress slid down the white sheets to the ground. Chen Shiping looked at Chen Hong's white and rosy skin, as if he was appreciating a work of art. Chen Hong suddenly thought of some plots in Chen Shiping's novels. She hooked her toes and gently tapped Chen Shiping's chest. The round and small toes kept moving downwards, and finally stopped when they were blocked. The heat from under her feet made Chen Hong's breathing become rapid. Her little feet couldn't help but tremble slightly, and then she stepped lightly. "Do you like me like this?" Chen Hong tilted her head and looked at Chen Shiping knowingly. She had read Chen Shiping's novels, which contain many such plot descriptions. She guessed what Chen Shiping liked, but she was a little curious about his hobbies. Chen Shiping did not answer Chen Hong, but just grabbed her ankles. He dragged her towards himself, then leaned over and pressed on her. Not long after, Chen Hong's suppressed voice of pain came from the room, but it soon turned into a weak gasp and finally became rapid. Time passed quickly, and after an unknown amount of time, Chen Shiping stood by the window smoking silently. Chen Hong pulled the quilt and looked at Chen Shiping's back. She endured the pain and struggled to sit up and walked behind Chen Shiping to hug his waist. The red and hot little face was pressed against his back, and the little hands moved restlessly in front. Chen Shiping looked down at Chen Hong, who was provoking him, and suddenly a line came to his mind. "Pull out my YDL cannon. Fire. To deal with a provocative enemy, you can only fire." When it was bright outside, the room had become a mess. Clothes and quilts were scattered all over the floor. Chen Hong was sleeping soundly with a thick pillow under her waist. Chen Shiping glanced at the time. It was already past 9 in the morning. He got up, washed, went out to buy breakfast, woke up Chen Hong after coming back, and had breakfast with her. After making an appointment to go back to Beijing together tomorrow, Chen Shiping set off for Suzhou. Chen Shiping slept all the way to Suzhou and woke up when he arrived at Tongli Water Town. Looking at the beautiful water town, Chen Shiping felt very relaxed. He has been in this era for so long, and the start was so bad. He has been tense and has never been as relaxed as today. This special era has put too much pressure on him and made his life very hard. It is better to be bold and free than Chen Hong. After such an experience, Chen Shiping has let go of the burden in his heart. Just do it. Chapter 57. The competition started again. Brother, are your melons ripe? At a watermelon stand on the street of Tangli Water Village, Chen Shiping looked down at the plump watermelons and said the classic line without thinking. The vendor looked up at Chen Shiping and said with a smile, ripe. Chen Shiping sighed in his heart. It's not right, but it won't delay his purchase of melons. Chen Shiping didn't know what to pay attention to when visiting the crew, but it's definitely right to buy some melons on such a hot day. The vendor helped Chen Shiping pick about 20 melons and helped deliver them to the filming site. Tangli Water Village is not big, and the news that Shanghai TV station came here to film has spread a long time ago. The vendor pushed the cart and led Chen Shiping to the crew with ease. The scene of the filming was an old house. The staff guarding the door looked familiar to Chen Shiping, and when he introduced himself, he immediately became polite. The staff first greeted politely and then helped the vendor to transport the melons. The crew had just had a lunch break, and when they saw someone visiting the set and offering watermelons, they all came over. One reason was to see the celebrity Chen Shiping, and the other was to eat a bite of watermelon to cool off. Tao Human, who had known that Chen Shiping was coming today, ran over to him and was extremely happy when she saw him. But because there were so many people, she was embarrassed to be too intimate with Chen Shiping. Chen Shiping was very thick-skinned, and he reached out and hugged Tao Human in his arms without caring about other people's eyes. Let go quickly, there are so many people, aren't you ashamed? Tao Human blushed and said coquettishly in Chen Shiping's arms, but her body didn't move honestly, and her little hands naturally wrapped around Chen Shiping's waist. Chen Shiping laughed and then let go of Tao Human. Tao Human, who had played Lin Daiyu for 3 years, put on ancient costumes, and her blushing face complaining to Chen Shiping was really adorable. Everyone in the crew just smiled at this scene, and no one thought there was anything wrong with it. What's wrong with hugging when they are dating? What's more, the producer Chen also sent melons. After eating such a sweet melon, how can you say anything else? But many people didn't expect that Tao Human's partner was Chen Shiping. Chen Shiping and Tao Human said a few words in a sticky way. When he saw the director of the crew coming over, he went to say hello and chatted for a few words. There are very few female directors in China, and it is not easy for most female directors to get the position of assistant director. Female directors like Lily who can direct a TV series are rare, so Chen Shiping is still very polite to her. The courtyard of the ancient house is not small. Under a pavilion, Tao Human ate a box lunch in small bites and asked about Chen Shiping's recent situation. During the time she came out to film, she was always worried about Chen Shiping. She couldn't cook and was busy writing novels in class, so she was worried that he couldn't take care of himself. Chen Shiping patted his pocket and smiled and said that he had money and wouldn't starve himself. So how did you come to see Mr. Bei this time? Can the novel be published? Tao Human asked with concern, biting the chopsticks. Chen Shiping ate rice and told her about the novel. He apologized and said that he could not stay with her for a few more days. He had to go back to revise the novel tomorrow. Tao Human was very sensible. She just cared about Chen Shiping not staying up late every day. She said that she would go back immediately after filming. Yang Neiwu and Zhao Beike only had 16 episodes in total, and the filming task was not very heavy. Moreover, a large part of the TV series was filming Yang Neiwu's sister seeking justice for her brother. Tao Human's role was not much, and she would be able to go back in half a month. Tao Human continued to film in the afternoon, and Chen Shiping watched by her side. He waited until the evening to finish work, and then pulled her away from the crew to find a place where no one was to talk whisper. The next day, Chen Shiping took the train back to Shanghai and met Chen Han at the train station and returned to Beijing. Chen Han was really, as she said, she would be obedient, not jealous, and did not ask Chen Shiping about Tao Human. After returning to Beijing, Chen Shiping immediately started to revise the novel, and Chen Han looked for a house outside every day. There are many places in the novel that need to be revised, but the overall length is not large, so it is not difficult to revise. Chen Shiping only spent 4 or 5 days to revise those explicit words. As soon as the manuscript was finished, Chen Shiping went to find Qin Zhaoyang, First to send it to him for review, and second to go to his house, to give gifts and apologize. Originally, he wanted to publish it in the contemporary era, but after Mr. Bay spoke, Chen Shiping still chose to submit it. Chen Shiping felt that he was very sorry for Qin Zhaoyang, so he bought a lot of good wine and tea, and sent it to his door. Qin Zhaoyang didn't say anything to Chen Shiping. A writer should have character, and make friends with famous teachers. There was nothing wrong with Chen Shiping's choice. In the end, Qin Zhaoyang just smiled, and said that Chen Shiping's next novel must be published in the contemporary era. Chen Shiping naturally agreed. If he was not worried that everyone would think he was too productive, he would definitely write a novel a month. It was precisely because he couldn't publish novels frequently that Chen Shiping chose to write some controversial novels to raise his own value and fame. The 1980s was the most active time in the literary world. It would be difficult to be famous in the future if you were not famous at this time. If you want to occupy a place in the literary world, you don't know how many years it will take to write a decent novel. I'm not afraid of controversy, I'm just afraid of not making waves and drowning in the tide. After sending the revised novel out, Chen Shiping felt relieved, but he also began to get nervous. The novel will be published next month, and I don't know how many people will focus their attention on him. I have to be more careful when going out during this period, so as not to be discovered that he is cheating. When Chen Shiping went to work in the factory office that day, he heard several directors of the Art Creation Center discussing Zhang Yimou, so he went over curiously. Producer Chen is here. Have you heard that Zhang Yimou's new movie has been filmed? Chen Shiping has been busy writing novels recently and really didn't know about this. He asked curiously what happened. I heard that there are a lot of passionate scenes in it, and it may not pass the review. Chen Shiping lost interest immediately after hearing this. It is definitely impossible to pass the review. The scale of the novel is large enough, and there are a lot of incest and passionate scenes. Either cut those scenes, or it will be banned. Chen Shiping thought about it carefully, and he really admired Zhang Yimou. He was willing to let Gong Li shoot those large-scale passionate scenes. He really devoted himself to art. Chen Shiping asked himself that he could not do the same as Zhang Yimou, and he would definitely not let his girlfriend shoot such scenes in the future. I really want to interview Zhang Yimou about what he was thinking when he was shooting these scenes. Would he feel excited? After chatting about gossip, everyone speculated which film festival Zhang Yimou would attend this time. I guess it will be Venice. Cannes was won by Shiping. Venice must be Zhang Yimou's first choice. Grab the first prize in Venice? Didn't Taiwan's Hachiko win the Golden Lion this year, and the first prize was gone? That's different. Didn't the mainland have a movie that won the first prize? Everyone talked about it, and it was inevitable that they would feel a little envious and nervous. The competition between the studio and the Xiang studio has not been 1 or 2 days. If Zhang Yimou took 2 of the 3 major European first prizes, the face that the studio had just earned back would be compared again. Chen Shiping didn't care much about these. Zhu Dao's film was good, but it was still a little short of winning the Venice Film Festival. The taste of the film selection at the Venice Film Festival was different. However, Chen Shiping didn't care, but someone in the factory did. After a while, someone came to call Chen Shiping, saying that Song Zun wanted him to attend a meeting. Chen Shiping felt that he was about to receive a task. Even if the factory assigned him a task, the novel would be published in a few days, and various controversies would be inevitable, and it was estimated that it would last for a long time. It would be better for him to hide and make a movie at this time to avoid the limelight. If he won another trophy, he could shut up those people. It was too difficult to win an award for a novel, but Chen Shiping was still confident about the movie. Chapter 58. The rich sister is so domineering. The factory director's meeting room was filled with smoke, and the heads of several departments were all there. When Chen Shiping knocked on the door and went in, he became serious when he saw this scene. It seems that today's meeting is not ordinary. However, the directors of the production workshops are not here, and it seems that the discussion is not about the movies being made in the factory. After Chen Shiping came in, Song Yu greeted him and said, "Come, sit down. Do you want water or tea?" "Water is fine." Chen Shiping replied with a smile. Drinking tea on a hot day is a bad idea. After Chen Shiping sat down, He found that the atmosphere in the office did not seem to be very good, and Song Yu's expression was very solemn. Could there be another personnel transfer? Chen Shiping remembered that Song Yu did not stay in the Beijing film studio for a long time, but he did not know why he was transferred away. After Chen Shiping sat down, Song Yu did not say anything about this, but asked directly, "I heard that you are writing a novel again." Chen Shiping nodded. This matter had spread throughout the factory, and many colleagues knew about it. When they received Qin Zhao Yang's call in the dormitory that day, Song Heng hummed and continued to smoke. Surrounded by smoke, it was hard to tell what he was thinking. He was not really concerned about Chen Shiping's novel. After a while, Song Heng finally spoke up. The response to the factory's movies this year was very bad. Chen Shiping remained silent. He didn't know what Song Heng meant. "I've won the Cannes Film Festival, and you still say the response to the factory's movies is bad." After a little thought, Chen Shiping understood that this should be referring to the box office results. In recent years, the policy has encouraged all-round development, and the direction of film development is also towards marketization. From a market-oriented perspective, the several films released by the factory this year are indeed not very good. Seeing that Chen Shiping didn't speak, Song Heng said directly, "Shiping, you are a young man with a lot of ideas. Do you have any suggestions for the production plan formulated by the factory?" Chen Shiping glanced at the head of the production department who was sitting diagonally opposite him, thinking that this was not within his scope of responsibility. Seeing Chen Shiping's concerns, Song Yu smiled and said, "I want you to talk about the direction of film creation." Chen Shiping breathed a sigh of relief, and after a pause, he said, "It must be developed in the direction of genre films and commercial marketization. That's the problem." Song Yu put out his cigarette and sighed. The crime films, romance films, etc. shot by the factory in recent years have not received good market response. We don't know what the market wants at all. Chen Shiping touched his nose and didn't say anything. This question is not difficult. If you want to know what everyone likes to watch, you can go to the major video halls in the city and find out. Chen Shiping didn't respond to this. Others started to discuss it, talking about foreign films and Hong Kong films, and finally talked about the fact that Zion Film Studio won the box office championship for 2 consecutive years. Under the leadership of Wu Xianming, Zion Film Studio has really won both awards in the market. In this regard, Beijing Film Studio can't compare. As a film studio, it not only wants a certain movie to win a big award, but also considers other issues. Chen Shiping also knew what it meant to ask him to come, but it was really hard to take the initiative to stop this job. This has to be done by the factory, otherwise if the movie fails, he won't have to take the blame. Seeing that Chen Shiping didn't say anything, Song Yu simply said directly, "Shiping, I recognize your production ability very much. Have you ever thought about taking the lead?" Chen Shiping's eyes lit up slightly, and he humbly declined a few times before agreeing. The small meeting in the office ended quickly, and Chen Shiping was left alone by Song Yu to chat for a few words before leaving. He said something like the pressure in the factory was very high, and hoped that Chen Shiping could lead the young colleagues in the factory to make a good movie. After leaving the office, Chen Shiping also came to his senses. It is estimated that Song Yu's director will not last long, or he heard the news and wanted to make some achievements quickly. After returning to the office of the Creative Arts Center, Chen Shiping pondered for a long time alone and felt that this was his opportunity. If he can do well and help Song Yu continue to stay, there is still a chance to be promoted in 2 years. Being a producer and director alone is face-saving, but it has no substance. Chen Shiping is very greedy. He wants both face and substance. The Beijing Film Studio will be gone in a few years, and it will inevitably be merged and reorganized by China Film in the future, so we must seize the opportunity. After get off work, Chen Shiping was thinking about what kind of movie he should make while walking his dog. He certainly won't be a director, because market-oriented movies don't fit his status as a Palme d'Or winner. So he just wants to be a producer, and he won't even be named as a co-director. This time, Chen Shiping wants results rather than fame. Results are for the studio and the higher-ups to see, and fame is just to fool others, which is not important to Chen Shiping at this stage. After Ed Wall is published, you can have as much fame as you want. How can you not be famous if someone writes a short essay to analyze your novel every day? When Chen Shiping was walking his dog, his thoughts were gradually taking shape. After all, he had seen the answer, so it was easy for him to find a few movies that met the needs of the times and were tested by the market. There are only a few types of movies, and the first choice with a relatively high domestic acceptance is action movies. Wasn't the most famous kung fu movie in mainland China in the 1980s Shaolin Temple? Chen Shiping, who had an idea in mind, did not bother to walk the dog and took it directly back to the dormitory, preparing to write a script as soon as possible. Time waits for no one, and if he waits for a while, it will be too late for Song Heng to be transferred. In the next few days, Chen Shiping has been tinkering with the script and at the same time thinking about the issue of actors in his mind. However, he hasn't finished the script yet, and the rich sister who smelled the scent came to the door. The first sentence Liu King said when he saw Chen Shiping was, "Shipping, do you want to invest?" Chen Shiping. The rich sister tasted the sweetness and began to take the initiative to deliver it to the door. Chen Shiping invited Liu King into the dormitory and prepared to talk to her. It was the first time that Liu King came to Chen Shiping's dormitory. Looking at the small but cozy single room, he smiled and said, "You are not short of money now. Why do you still live in the dormitory? Didn't the factory give you any money? I will go to the factory director to ask for it after the filming of this movie is finished." Chen Shiping smiled and put the water cup in front of Liu King and said, "I originally planned to buy one. Xiao Beike is not filming. I will ask her opinion when she comes back. She is the one who makes the decision in your family?" Liu King smiled and said, "I thought you were in charge of the money." Chen Shiping smiled and said nothing. He sat opposite Liu King and said, "I do need investment, but I don't think this movie will make any money." Liu King asked in confusion, "Why?" "Because of unified purchase and sales." Chen Shiping shrugged helplessly and said, "The investment this time will be huge, and the box office will definitely make a lot of money, but we won't make any money. If it is a small budget movie like Zusanguan with a budget of 800,000 or 900,000, unified purchase and sales will definitely not lose money. If it is a big production, it is hard to say. I don't know whether China Film is willing to raise the price." Liu King immediately asked curiously, "Is the investment huge? How big?" "At least 5 million. Chen Shiping has also estimated the cost in the past few days, and at least 5 million is needed to complete it." Liu King couldn't help but gasp when he heard the answer. 5 million is too scary. Who can take out this? It's equivalent to 500,000 yuan households. Chen Shiping looked at Liu King with a smile and asked, "Sister, do you still want to invest?" Looking at Chen Shiping's smiling face, Liu King came to her senses. Chen Shiping would definitely not do anything that would lose money, and the factory didn't have that much money. Liu King, who had figured it out, said heroically, "Shipping, as long as it's your movie, I will invest in it, no matter how much money it costs." Sister, domineering. Chen Shiping couldn't help but give a thumbs up. The rich sister is really domineering. If she hadn't been imprisoned for paying taxes later, she would definitely have become a super boss in the entertainment industry. Chapter 59. Don't even give face to the rich sister. The fan in the room was turning slowly, and the breeze blew the manuscript paper on the desk. Chen Shiping was sitting at the desk, a little distracted. Liu King squeezed next to him, and her hair blown by the wind always swept across his neck. "Just read the script. Why are you so close?" Chen Shiping moved aside a little calmly to create distance. Producers and investors should keep their distance, otherwise how can they cheat money against their conscience in the future? "Sister, it's quite hot. I'll go buy 2 bottles of soda." Chen Shiping stood up and said. Liu King glanced at him, couldn't help laughing, and rolled up her hair and said, "Why, are you afraid that sister will have ideas about you?" "I'm afraid that I have ideas about you." Chen Shiping laughed and went downstairs with a smile. In the canteen in the family area, Chen Shiping took a bottle of Arctic Ocean from the freezer and took a big gulp. Only then did he feel that the summer was complete. "Hey, I was just about to go to your house to find you." Yuhua suddenly appeared at the entrance of the canteen, looked at the soda in Chen Shiping's hand, and walked in to take a bottle from the freezer. Put it on his account, Yuhua said to the canteen owner with a smile. The canteen owner smiled, then opened the account book, found Talhumin's name, and wrote down the price of 2 bottles of soda at the back. Why did you come here today? Chen Shiping asked while drinking soda. Yuhua wiped his sweat and said, I'm here to trouble you on behalf of a friend. Chen Shiping's mind was full of question marks. When did he offend someone? Yuhua smiled and explained, you sent your novel to Xiaohuo and pushed Sutong's novel to the back. Haha. Chen Shiping asked in confusion, isn't that right? He wrote a novel? Yuhua said in confusion, no, one of the novellas in this issue was squeezed out to leave more space for your novel. Don't you know? Chen Shiping really didn't know about this. He hadn't received a reply from the magazine for a few days after sending the manuscript. Yuhua and Chen Shiping were drinking soda in the canteen and explained Sutong's affairs. Sutong's novella Wives and Concubines was originally scheduled to be published in this issue of Harvest, but because Chen Shiping's Red Wall had too many words, if it was published in 2 issues, it would take up some space, so he was delayed to the next issue. Chen Shiping felt that he was innocent. He was not an editor of the magazine, so he should go to the editor of the magazine to find trouble. But Yuhua was just playing around. He didn't go home during the holidays, but rented a house in Beijing and locked himself in a small dark room to write a long story. It was probably because he couldn't stay in the small dark room anymore, so he thought of coming to Chen Shiping to brag. When Chen Shiping took a few bottles of soda and went upstairs, Yuhua asked from behind when Talhumin would come back. Want to eat again? Have you paid for the food? Chen Shiping complained, pushed open the dormitory door and went in, introducing Yuhua to Liu Xiaoqing, who was reading the script. Liu Xiaoqing took the soda from Chen Shiping and greeted Yuhua, then smiled and asked, Amin is not here. You, a grown man, have no food to eat, right? Chen Shiping nodded. He had been eating out during this period. Liu Xiaoqing put down the script in his hand and said, I finished reading the script. I'll treat you to dinner tonight and chat together. Okay, just treat me, don't treat this guy. Chen Shiping joked. Yuhua was immediately anxious. He had been locked up in the small dark room for so many days, and he was counting on today to have a meal. He definitely couldn't miss it. But it was still early, so the 3 of them chatted in the dormitory. Yuhua was still very curious about making a movie, and he took Chen Shiping's script and read it. After reading it for a long time, he frowned and put down the script, looked at Chen Shiping and asked, is the script so simple? In the last fight, there is only one sentence about Huang Fihang defeating the foreigners? Chen Shiping and Liu Xiaoqing looked at each other and laughed at the same time. After laughing for a while, Chen Shiping said to Yuhua, this is a simple storyboard script. If it is a literary script, it will be longer, but it will not be more detailed. Yuhua didn't understand it very well, but after reading the script, he understood the whole plot. He was very surprised that Chen Shiping wrote a martial arts script. It's not his style at all. Shouldn't he make art films? Chen Shiping didn't explain so much to Yuhua. If he was just a writer or director, he would definitely continue to work hard on art films and find ways to win awards. But the problem is that a director who wins awards can't be a leader. Yuhua is still very interested in martial arts. He asked Chen Shiping about this and that. He felt that Chen Shiping's script was quite interesting. In the turbulent background of the late Qing dynasty, he wrote about chivalrous tenderness and national hatred. I've seen the old Hong Kong version of Huang Fihang, and I don't think it's as interesting as your script. Yuhua asked with some interest, when are you going to shoot? Take me to see it. Chen Shiping shrugged and said, it's still early, the script needs to be revised, and it will take a long time to prepare. After chatting for a while, they went out to eat. Chen Shiping felt that Liu Xiaoqing must have ideas for the role of 13th aunt, but Chen Shiping couldn't give her this role. The age was not suitable, and the temperament did not meet Chen Shiping's requirements. He wanted an actor with both Chinese and Western temperaments. Halfway through the meal, Liu Xiaoqing really raised this question, and Chen Shiping didn't catch it, so he directly refused. Liu Xiaoqing shook the wine glass in her hand and complained, aren't you afraid that I won't invest? Is there anyone who treats investors like this? Sister, I'm telling the truth. You are indeed not suitable. If you don't believe me, ask Yuhua. Chen Shiping patted Yuhua's shoulder with his backhand and said, tell me, is it not suitable? Yuhua, who was gnawing on a chicken leg, looked around at the two of them and said faintly, I think Shiping is indeed not authentic. Sister King is more suitable. She is beautiful and has good acting skills. Haha. Yuhua, I'm determined to be your friend. Liu King clinked glasses with Yuhua with a laugh and then looked at Chen Shiping with a slightly provocative look. Chen Shiping. Yuhua is such an unprincipled kid. He was bribed with just one meal. Do you want our minimum to play the role? Liu King paused and said, if so, I won't say anything. Chen Shiping shook his head and said, she's not suitable either. Sister, forget about this movie. I'll find you for the next one. Liu King's eyes flashed with disappointment, but he also understood Chen Shiping's insistence. He didn't even use his girlfriend, so it seemed that he was taking this movie seriously. From the perspective of investors, such a producer is trustworthy. After thinking it through, Liu King joked, who knows when your next movie will be, don't be perfunctory to me. I have already thought about the next movie, and I will prepare it after the new year. Don't worry, I will definitely find you. Chen Shiping promised solemnly. Liu King picked up the cup and said to Chen Shiping, then I'm waiting. But first, tell me who you are going to find for this movie. Hearing Liu King's words, Yuhua was also curious about who Chen Shiping had in mind as the right actor. Neither Liu King nor Tao Human were used, which was really curious. I want to find actors from Hong Kong. I'll contact them later to ask about the situation. If they don't want to, I'll find Chen Han. Are you planning to co-produce? It's just inviting actors. It doesn't count as co-production. Chen Shiping drank the wine in his glass and said, the actors in the troupe are not very suitable. Most of their images in the audience's mind are fixed. Either use newcomers or invite Hong Kong stars. Liu King was slightly startled and felt that what Chen Shiping said made some sense. Most of the actors in the factory played country girls. Their temperament was too simple, and they were indeed not suitable for the role of 13th aunt. What about Huang Fi Han? Liu King asked curiously. Just like the female roles, either invite Jet Li, whose Shaolin boy is deeply rooted in people's hearts, or go to Shichihei Sports School to select newcomers. Liu King shook his head slightly and said, you'd better select newcomers. Actors from Hong Kong look down on mainland movies. Chen Shiping raised his eyebrows slightly and said, give it a try. After all, I have won the Palme d'Or. I should have some face. I hope so. Those people are greedy for money and may not buy your account. On the way back after dinner in the evening, Chen Shiping and Yuhua strolled and chatted. Mainly Chen Shiping was asking about Su Tong's situation. Wives and Concubines is a very good novel. It's always a pity to miss it. Instead of letting Zhang Yimou make it into a movie, it's better to let Chen Shiping use it to promote Xiao Beike and fulfill his promise to Liu King and arrange a role for her. However, Xiao Beike's acting skills still need to be trained. When she comes back from Suzhou, I will give her lessons every night. Chapter 60. This is the master level. In the summer night sky, the moon is big and round, illuminating the earth. Such a night makes people not want to go home. It would be great if they could play football. Unfortunately, no one plays football during the school holidays. Even Yuhua is anxious to go back to the small dark room to continue writing his novel. Most of the students in the literature class are trying to write novels, and some have already written novels. Especially Chen Shiping. It is even more stressful to be his classmate. Yuhua is only in his 20s and has his own pride in his heart. When I finish writing, you make a movie for me, the kind that wins a big award. You and Mo Yan have won awards. You can't forget me. Yuhua suddenly said to Chen Shiping. Under the moonlight, Chen Shiping looked at Yuhua's serious eyes hidden in the joke, nodded and said, the novel you wrote will definitely win an award. If there is anyone in the world who believes in Yuhua's talent the most, it must be Chen Shiping. The two strolled for a while and then went home. Chen Shiping had a lot on his mind. When he went back to his dorm and lay down, he was still thinking about how to make a good movie. Movies in the producer mode are the most difficult, but of course it is the easiest for directors and actors, who only need to worry about their own little things. Chen Shiping came up with another version of the literary script in the next few days, but he was not very satisfied with it, no matter how he looked at it. Finally, after thinking for a long time, he took the script to the office of the literature department and prepared to hold a script seminar. The office of the literature department is on the 3rd floor. Chen Shiping has not been there for a while, since he was transferred to the bed center downstairs. Now he is back in glory and comes back to see his old brothers. Chen Shiping walked into the office of the literature department and found that his position had been assigned to a newcomer. The factory recruits many newcomers every year, including graduates from Tsinghua University, Peking University, National Academy of Drama, and Beijing Film Academy. The editing quality of the literature department is extremely high. When they saw Chen Shiping coming in, the less experienced people in the office stood up and greeted him. Chen Shiping is no longer the same as before. He may become a leader in the future. Everyone knows it. I haven't been back for a long time. I came to see you today. Chen Shiping acted very polite, then looked at Jiang Huoyan, who was calm and composed, and said with a smile, "Teacher Jiang." Jiang Huoyan smiled and hummed, thinking of the gossip yesterday. He asked curiously, "Preparing a new project?" "Yes, this is for everyone to see and optimize the script." Chen Shiping pulled a chair and sat down, smiled and looked at Wang Ruteo and shouted, "Teacher Wang." Everyone in the office was surprised to hear that Chen Shiping came to them to study the script. "You have become a great writer and producer, and won the Cannes Grand Prix. Can the studio still block your script? You are a great writer, but you still need us to help you read the script." "That's right, Producer Chen, you are too modest. You are from our literature department, so you know everything here. The scripts reviewed by the literature department were all submitted by us ourselves. Producers like you don't need to take them to the literature department." After everyone finished talking, Chen Shiping smiled and said, "This project has a huge investment. I want to be more rigorous, so I plan to hold a script seminar. The plot of Hong Kong's movie is fine, but many details are not very rigorous. Chen Shiping wants to continue to optimize it. Huang Fihang must be made into a series of movies. Chen Shiping wants to do better than Zhu Leogui. It must be rigorous and strive for perfection." After Chen Shiping explained a few words to them, he looked at Wang Ruteo and said, "Teacher Wang, I wonder if I can arrange it. I plan to invite several professors of modern history from Beijing Normal University to hold a script seminar together." "Of course, no problem. You decide the time. What about the director? Have you chosen?" Wang Ruteo knew that this was a project that the factory director personally asked Chen Shiping to take charge of, so he naturally attached great importance to it. "I haven't chosen yet. Let's get the script ready first. I'm still looking for a director." After Chen Shiping explained, everyone in the office couldn't help but grumble in their hearts. The directors in the factory are probably fighting for the role. The last time Chen Shiping filmed Zhu Sangun, he had to find a director himself. Now that he has won the Palme d'Or, it must be the other way around. It's the director's turn to take the initiative. The director is just a tool, not that important to Chen Shiping. Domestic directors are all in the system, and they are used to making films on their own. They have no experience in commercial films. Chen Shiping is preparing a high-budget film this time. Generally, directors can't stand the pressure and will make something weird. For example, chocolate that tastes like poop. So what Chen Shiping needs is a director with solid basic skills who can shoot according to the shooting plan. Give you a bottle of melted chocolate, just keep your hand steady and pour it into the mold. Don't have any messy ideas, and you will definitely succeed. After chatting in the literature department for a while, Chen Shiping left a script and went to find songs and to report how much money the factory has now and whether it can get full support are very important. After Chen Shiping left, everyone in the literature department was curious about what script he had written this time, and they all gathered around to see if it was another work that would win a big prize. "Teacher Wang, what script is this? Is it another one? I heard that Shiping has published a new novel. Is it an adaptation?" Wang Ruteo looked at the name on the cover of the script and handed it to them, saying, "If you want to read it, take a few copies." As soon as he finished speaking, someone took the script to make copies. Soon everyone in the office had a copy of the script, and the usual atmosphere of bragging and chatting disappeared. Wang Ruteo was also reading the script. When he saw the name of the movie, he thought Chen Shiping was not up to standard, but after reading it, his mind changed. Criticizing current ills, using the past to satirize the present, family and country feelings, national pride. Wang Ruteo, who had studied Marxism-Leninism for several years, had many ideas in his mind at this moment. He was particularly touched by the character of 13th Aunt, and felt that the design of this character was too clever. After returning from studying abroad, he also guided Huang Fihang on what family and country feelings were, and that he should work hard and learn advanced knowledge. Aren't these the talents who returned to China to build their hometown? In the script, the foreigners tricked people into going to Jinshan to make a lot of money, and many people believed and wanted to go. Ignorance and stupidity. You think it's good outside, but you'll still be a laborer after you go there. If there's gold everywhere, it's your turn to pick it up. And those Shay gang who did evil, and finally knelt down and kowtowed to the foreigners, aren't they talking about those people who advocated it? Worshipping foreigners. Yan Zhendong, the martial arts master who was highly skilled, but blinded by fame and fortune, is the same as many people who went abroad to study, but didn't come back in the end. Wang Ruteo suddenly thought of many actors who went abroad after becoming famous in China and finally ended up washing dishes abroad. What a good ending. In China, you are still a movie actor, but abroad, you are just a laborer washing dishes. Great. These lines are well written. Wang Ruteo suddenly sighed. There is a line in the script where Huang Fihang asked 13th Aunt why she came back when it was so good abroad, and 13th Aunt replied that there were things here that were not available in foreign countries. Huang Fihang asked again what it was, and 13th Aunt only answered with one word: home. The original line here was not home, but was changed by Chen Shiping himself. In the original version, it portrayed 13th Aunt's feelings for Huang Fihang, and the answer was people. Chen Shiping felt that it was too petty and made the role of 13th Aunt fall into cliché, so he changed it. In the office of the Department of Literature, there were either highly educated newcomers or old editors who had been dealing with scripts for a lifetime. They all saw the meaning of the script like Wang Ruteo. They all applauded immediately. This is a good genre film. Chen Shiping is worthy of being a great director who can win the Palme d'Or. He can write such a profound theme when writing genre film scripts. The family and country feelings and strong national pride in this script are incomparable to those genre films that only emphasize the good and evil of human nature or the novelty of the current genre films. This is a master level. Why didn't I realize that Chen Shiping was so amazing before? Many people in the office of the Department of Literature thought that Chen Shiping seemed to have become amazing after being hacked, and they couldn't help but touch their heads. How about giving yourself one too? Book recommendation: Three Kingdoms Skills. Starting from Dandayang soldiers, friends who are interested can go and have a look. Chapter 61, Asking for Money. At this time, in the director's office, Chen Shiping was asking Song Cheng for money. As for the fact that he had pretended to be a big shot in the literature department, he had no idea, otherwise he would have stayed in the literature department to listen to their praise before leaving. I really don't have 5 million. Song Cheng regretted it so much now. Why did he ask Chen Shiping to make a movie? He asked for 5 million at the first moment. Even if he was sold, there would not be so much money. Chen Shiping retracted one finger and said, then it's 4 million. I promise I won't lose money. I don't have 4 million. Song Cheng didn't believe Chen Shiping's nonsense. Even if China Film raised the price of a copy to 12,000, it couldn't make back so much money. Chen Shiping was helpless. He felt that Song Cheng was really stingy. 4 million in exchange for your position as the director of the factory was a sure win. It's not his own money. The factory can still squeeze it out. Seeing that Song Heng was so stingy, Chen Shiping had to retract one or two fingers and said, 2 million. I'll find a way to get the remaining 3 million. Song Heng still felt pained. 2 million was enough for the factory to make 2 movies, but Chen Shiping's investment was less than half of it. How about you think of a way and the factory pays 1 million? Song Heng asked tentatively. Chen Shiping immediately closed the script and said, "Director, you are making things difficult for me." Song Heng smiled bitterly and said, "You are making things difficult for me. What kind of movie needs so much money? Mr. Z only spent 10 million to make 6 parts and 8 episodes of Red Mansions." Song Heng was also embarrassed. It would be difficult for the factory committee to approve such a large amount of money. The atmosphere in the office was tense, but Chen Shiping was very patient. He slowly told Song Heng about his plan to increase his confidence. At the end, Chen Shiping looked at Song Yu and said, "Director, believe me, if you lose money, you can transfer me to the children's film studio." Hearing Chen Shiping's words, Song Yu couldn't help but squint his eyes. He was transferred from the children's film studio. If he can't keep his current position, he will most likely return to the children's film studio. Is Chen Shiping hinting that he will advance and retreat with him? Song Yu understood in his heart and simply stopped struggling. Chen Shiping dared to bet on him, so it would be unreasonable for him to refuse. Half an hour later, Chen Shiping came out of the director's office. Song Yu agreed to an investment of 1.5 million, but the factory committee had to hold a small meeting to discuss it. This is the only trouble in the system. It's harder to get some money than to die. The rich sister is still domineering. It's a pity that the rich sister can't come up with so much money. This project is for the factory, and Chen Shiping must get money from the factory. The factory could easily come up with 2 million, but Song Heng felt that Chen Shiping's production ability was so strong that it would be easy to attract investment. So he still wanted to keep more money in the factory and was thinking about starting another project. Although Song Heng was willing to believe in Chen Shiping, it did not mean that he placed all his hopes on him. People who can get to this position naturally will not rely on others, let alone a movie. After thinking for a while in the office, Song Heng took his briefcase and went out to make connections. Chen Shiping was also thinking about how to get the remaining investment. He and the rich sister could not get together 3.5 million. The two of them calculated that their money added up to less than 300,000, and they were still short of 500,000 in investment. Chen Shiping was thinking about where to get the remaining 500,000. He still had to find a way with the rich sister, because she knew many bosses. Chen Shiping couldn't help thinking that, if it worked this time, if Song Heng didn't give him a promotion, he would have to go to his house to eat and drink for a month. Before making all the plans for a film, the most important thing is the budget. Especially for the producer model, only after the budget is determined can the subsequent work begin. The script was placed in the literature department. Chen Shiping was not in a hurry to attend the script seminar, and the director and actors were not in a hurry either. Those were minor issues. Chen Shiping had to get the money first. Back in the dormitory, Chen Shiping took out his bank book. The number on it was very pitiful, only less than 800,000 yuan. Before, he gave Chen Hong 70,000 or 80,000 yuan to buy a house. Children need a place to sleep. Guest houses and hotels are too dangerous. After deducting the miscellaneous money, Zhu Sanguan's overseas copyright income was only a little over 3 million yuan. Liu Xiaoqing took away 2.4 million yuan, and Chen Shiping only had more than 600,000 yuan. The extra 100,000 yuan in the bank book was his royalties. This money may not seem much, but it was definitely at the level of a wealthy man in the late 1980s. Chen Shiping glanced at the watch on his wrist, put the bank book in his pocket and went out. Tao Human finished shooting today, and he had to go to the train station to pick her up. Although there was only a bicycle, the important thing was to pick her up, not to take a car. It's not that Chen Shiping can't afford it, but he still wants to get promoted in the factory, and buying a car is too high profile. Half an hour later, Chen Shiping rode his bike with Tao Human out of the crowded train station. Tao Human sat in the back and put her arms around Chen Shiping's waist. She didn't feel hot, but felt very happy. "Why don't you go home?" Tao Human asked loudly from behind when she saw that he didn't ride in the direction of the Beijing film studio. Chen Shiping smiled and replied, "I've seen a house, and I'm waiting for you to come back and make a decision. If you like it, buy it today." Chen Shiping didn't plan to invest all his money in movies. Money can't be earned, but life is going on every moment. Chen Shiping plans to invest 600,000 yuan, accounting for 12% of the share, and the factory will account for 30%. The rest depends on the rich sister. If the rich sister is willing to spend a lot of money, she can pay all the remaining 2.9 million. However, Chen Shiping has to talk to Tao Human before he can use the money in his hands. This is basic respect. The car soon arrived at Dongmian Hutong in Haohei, which is not far from the city center and the Beijing film studio. The most important thing is that the scenery here is nice and the size of the courtyard is also very good. Chen Shiping is interested in a small courtyard with 3 entrances. The area is not large, but the layout is very good. Beijing has launched more than 20,000 commercial housing units this year, with an average price of 1,300 yuan. Chen Shiping was shocked when he read the newspaper. This was only the late 1980s, and the average monthly salary was only more than 100 yuan, but the housing prices were over 1,000 yuan. Shanghai has also launched more than 10,000 commercial housing units this year, but only 1/5 of them have been sold, because people can't afford them. The higher-ups think that the price is too scary, and start thinking about controlling the soaring housing prices. In the second year of the economic double regulation, everything has skyrocketed, which is completely unreasonable. The newspaper has calculated in detail that according to the current salary level, a young couple who want to buy a 2-bedroom commercial house will have to save for 100 years. Sahawan is relatively not that expensive. Every household in Beijing has either a Sahawan or a shantytown, or they live in a company's staff building. Few people are interested in Sahawan. Rich people these days want to improve their living standards, not buy a shabby yard. Electrical appliances, motorcycles, cars, and stylish commercial housing are their first choice. Chen Shiping didn't have that much money to buy commercial housing, so he could only choose a Sahawan. It's a good deal to buy a yard for tens of thousands of yuan, and a large yard with a good location costs just over 100,000 yuan. Tao Human got off the back seat of the bicycle and looked at the small courtyard with mottled blue bricks and red doors in front of her. She didn't like it. Why don't you buy a commercial house? Tao Human looked at Chen Shiping and asked. She didn't like such a house as her future home. No money. Chen Shiping replied honestly. Tao Human was very confused. She knew how much money her family had, so how could they have no money? Chen Shiping patiently explained. I'm going to make a new movie and plan to invest 600,000 yuan. The remaining money is enough, but I can't spend it all. I'm just anxious to move out of the dormitory, and I feel like a thief every night. Chen Shiping kept silent every night, and he had never heard Zhao Bei casing. Hearing Chen Shiping's words, Tao Human burst out laughing and rolled her eyes at him. It's just a small broken courtyard. Marry a chicken and follow the chicken. Marry a dog and follow the dog. This will be their home from now on. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Heavy Force. There are many alleys in Haohei, and there are many famous courtyard houses. On the way back to Beijing Film Studio, Chen Shiping and Tao Human chatted when they passed by the prince's mansion. The people who lived here used to be the royal family, and later many people from the palace also lived here. Chen Shiping rode slowly through the alleys, and Tao Human sat sideways on the back seat, swinging her legs, and looking very happy. From the palace? Tao Human asked curiously. The emperor's concubines? No, some eunuchs. Chen Shiping coughed and suddenly said, do you know that eunuch castration in ancient times was called castration? Yes. Then let me test you on an idiom. Do you know what the general trend means? I have been so powerful and have no holes these days, and I miss you so much. Tao Human's little head has reacted, and she pinched Chen Shiping's waist with a blushing face. You have misinterpreted such a good idiom. Chen Shiping cried out in pain, laughing and saying, I advise you that those who are in power are heroes. Tao Human was so ashamed that she hit Chen Shiping, not knowing whether she was angry at him for talking nonsense or at herself for understanding him immediately. Finally, she snorted, pinched Chen Shiping's waist and said, "Then do you know what is irreconcilable?" Chen Shiping was stunned for a moment after hearing irreconcilable, and then realized what it meant. It's over. She has learned it, and she will draw inferences from it to warn herself. Seeing that Chen Shiping didn't reply, Tao Human snickered and said, "Don't think you are the only one who knows idioms. Be careful or I will let you know what is a lost cause." Chen Shiping. Today's wind is so noisy and feels chilly. After returning to the dormitory of Beijing Film Studio, Tao Human looked at the clothes scattered on the bed and sighed helplessly. "How many times have I told you not to leave clothes on the bed? What can you do without me?" Tao Human complained, and went to pack the clothes, but there was a smile on the corner of her mouth. Chen Shiping laughed foolishly. He threw the clothes on the bed before going out. He created the illusion of being needed, and made the other person feel very important. This is a little trick in love, but you can't do it too much. 2 pieces of clothes are nothing, but if the house is messy, it will be disliked. After dinner in the evening, Chen Shiping couldn't wait to pull Tao Human to discuss the various meanings of idioms. For example, after studying repeatedly several times, Chen Shiping finally ran out of strength. Tao Human was so tired that she couldn't speak. Studying was really tiring. Chen Shiping fell asleep holding Tao Human, and when he woke up the next day, his life fell into busyness again. Tao Human was going to the factory to cancel her leave with the head of the troupe. When she arrived at the troupe, she heard the actors in the troupe discussing Chen Shiping's new movie. Several actors who had a good relationship with Tao Human found her and asked curiously. On the surface, they asked Tao Human if she wanted to be the heroine, but in fact they wanted to see if there was a role suitable for her. Tao Human heard Chen Shiping's explanation yesterday and directly said that Chen Shiping did not choose her because she was not suitable. Hearing Tao Human's words, the actress's eyes lit up, and they felt that they had hope, but they also felt that there was no hope. Chen Shiping didn't even use his girlfriend, so there must be a suitable candidate. There are many people in the troupe who are interested, and there are also many in other workshops. Chen Shiping is paid a lot as a producer, and has good treatment. It is not paid according to the factory's standards. Who doesn't want to join his crew? People in the technical workshop are all for money. Chen Shiping has not yet settled the remaining investment. It's not that he thinks 500,000 is too much, but that it is too little. He wants to go to Hong Kong to find investors through Liu King's connections, but people may not be interested in a mere 10% share. But the factory can only offer 1.5 million, and he has to keep the factory's share. Chen Shiping can't even expand the cost. It's difficult, and the rich sister still has to give up some of her share. After Chen Shiping found Liu King to discuss, the rich lady was also very happy. She was very happy not to have to pay so much money. After all, it was more than 2 million, and she was also worried. Liu King was so easy to talk to. Chen Shiping was also very happy. If Liu King gave up another 500,000 investment quota, he would go to Hong Kong to find investment. In the factory director's office, Song Yu looked at Chen Shiping and asked, "How long do you plan to be gone, so that I can write a report? How about using the reason of inspection and study?" "No problem, give me more time, 2 weeks. Chen Shiping said with a smile. Song Heng nodded and said worriedly, "Is 2 weeks enough? We need to find actors and attract investment." Chen Shiping smiled and said, "If we can reach an agreement, 1 week will be enough. If not, 1 month will not work." "That's right." Song Heng nodded, and then smiled and said, "You need 2 weeks, so be prepared to have fun for a few days." Chen Shiping said seriously, "I'm investigating the Hong Kong film market. I'm going to learn." Song Heng smiled and shook his head. He felt that Chen Shiping was really interesting. He was reliable and not rigid. He was serious when he should be serious, and he would joke when he should joke. It is quite troublesome to go to Hong Kong these days. There are many procedures, and it is still a quota system. You must have a legitimate reason to go. However, it would be much simpler if it was handled through the factory. Chen Shiping and Liu King got the procedures done in a few days. It was not the first time for Liu King to go to Hong Kong, but it was the first time for Chen Shiping. He was still full of expectations for Hong Kong. The Hong Kong in the old Hong Kong movies was the dream of many people when they were young, but Chen Shiping was a little disappointed when he came to Hong Kong from the Special Administrative Region. Hong Kong is a little different from what he imagined, and it is also a little different from what is in the movies. There are indeed tall buildings, and the streets aligned with signs of different colors, which feels like something out of a movie. But many public housing buildings are also shabby, and at first glance they look like dangerous buildings. In the taxi, Liu Xiaoqing smiled and asked, "Why do you look disappointed?" Chen Shiping nodded without comment and said, "It's very different from what I imagined, and it's far less beautiful than Paris. There is still a gap between Hong Kong and Paris, but it is much better than the mainland. This is a fact. Hong Kong was still one of the 4 Asian tigers at that time, and it was much better than Shenzhen and Shanghai combined. But it won't be ahead for a few years, and it will soon be surpassed by the mainland and completely left behind." The factory reimbursed the expenses for this trip to Hong Kong, but the funds were not much, and Chen Shiping and Liu Xiaoqing did not plan to arrange it according to the factory's funds. Otherwise, they would have to stay at the Regent Hotel instead of the Regent Hotel. Mainland filmmakers must go to the Silver Capital Organization when they come to Hong Kong. This is considered a film studio in Hong Kong from the mainland, and it belongs to their own people. Many famous co-productions were made by Yindu and the mainland, and many stars also came from Yindu's film companies. Jet Li, Chow Yun-fat, Maggie Cheung, Chi Ri-chung, etc. are all from Great Wall or Phoenix. In the 1980s, there were numerous film companies in Hong Kong, far from the situation of a few dominant companies later. This was also the most glorious moment for Hong Kong films. When a large number of companies went bankrupt in the mid to late 1990s, Hong Kong films began to decline. Chen Shiping is still very famous in the film industry. Yindu received a notice from the Beijing Film Studio and had been waiting for Chen Shiping and Liu Xiaoqing. One is the most prominent director in the mainland, and the other is the most popular female star in the mainland. Naturally, they would not come to Hong Kong quietly. Many people in Hong Kong film companies knew the news and were curious about whether Chen Shiping, the popular director, came to Hong Kong to make a film or what else. In the past, Hong Kong film companies took the initiative to cooperate in the mainland, and few mainland production companies came to Hong Kong to seek cooperation. In addition to the famous Shaolin series, many kung fu films in the 1980s were produced by Hong Kong film companies that came to the mainland to find film studios for cooperation. Kung fu films such as The Yellow River Hero, The Invincible Butterfly Leg, The Three Ruan Brothers, 800 Arhats, etc. were all produced at this time. In the Regent Hotel, not long after Chen Shiping and Liu Xiaoqing checked in and had just finished talking on the phone with the people from Silver Capital, the phone in the room rang again. Chen Shiping did not speak Cantonese, so Liu Xiaoqing took the initiative to answer the phone and hung up after saying a few words. Liu Xiaoqing turned his head and looked at Chen Shiping and said, "The boss of a Hong Kong film company is here and wants to meet you." Chen Shiping pointed to his nose and asked, "Are you sure? Which film company?" Liu Xiaoqing looked at the confused Chen Shiping, laughed and said, "Of course, you are the Palme d'Or director. Chapter 63 1 million is too little, we need more money." In the clean and bright hotel room, a sea breeze blew, and the translucent white gauze swayed slowly. Chen Shiping was fiddling with the TV remote control in the room at the small table by the window. The TV in the hotel room seemed to be broken, and it was full of snow spots. Since the TV couldn't be watched, Chen Shiping simply picked up a magazine to read. After flipping through a few pages, he was scared and threw it into the trash can. Damn, they actually put adult pornographic magazines in the hotel room. Or the kind with soliciting information. Isn't this tempting people to commit crimes? Chen Shiping didn't expect the soliciting information on the magazine. Hong Kong is really a diverse city. Chen Shiping, a good socialist young man, was deeply shocked. When Chen Shiping was hesitating whether to pick up the magazine, the door of the room was pushed open again, and Liu Xiaoqing came in. Liu Xiaoqing went downstairs to send away the people from the Hong Kong Film Company who called earlier. Chen Shiping didn't go downstairs after knowing that they were not from Yindu. As a socialist producer, he must cooperate with Z-style filmmakers. Yindu is a state-owned enterprise, and the chairman is appointed from the mainland. It has not been doing well in recent years. It is a bit out of touch with the trend of Hong Kong movies and looks a bit lonely. Yindu's predecessor was the Z-style film companies such as Great Wall, New Union, and Phoenix. They led the entire Hong Kong film industry before the 1970s, and were really prosperous at that time. It's a pity that these companies were not spared during the 10 years in the mainland. At that time, the Shuangnan cinema line was also forced to play model operas such as Shajia Bang. More than 200 films of several companies such as Great Wall were banned, and even forced to stop the day before the premiere. Fortunately, it has recovered a lot in recent years, and is still a leading film company in Hong Kong. In 1981, Great Wall and New Union jointly established Zhangyuan Film Company, and filmed Shaolin Temple in the mainland, which directly triggered the craze of martial arts movies. This is also what many viewers didn't understand when they watched Shaolin Temple. How can a Hong Kong film company make a movie so mainland style? It is completely different from the martial arts movies of Shaw Brothers, which often spray ketchup, broken hands and feet, and intestines all over the floor. In the past, these Z-school filmmakers in Hong Kong wore mouse suits and had pens in their pockets, walking proudly on the streets of Hong Kong. Many people may not realize that the Z-school filmmakers in Hong Kong also emerged under the influence of the Z-school Writers Union of Luzon and his group. These Z-school filmmakers became the 8 major film studios in the mainland, and it can be seen from the logos of these film studios that those who went to Hong Kong established companies such as Great Wall, Xinlian, and Phoenix. What are you thinking about so absent-mindedly? Liu King walked in and sat on the bed, and the large bed of raw and sank a lot. Chen Shiping came back to his senses and shook his head and said, "Nothing. How was the chat downstairs? What can I do? I'll just push it off to 3, 4, or 5 people." Liu King smiled and teased, "The big producer Chen has spoken, so I can only do it." Chen Shiping rolled his eyes at her and kicked the trash can at his feet under the table. Liu King glanced at him subconsciously and couldn't help laughing. He looked at him and said, "Are you shocked by the openness of Hong Kong? What's the matter? I just think this hotel is not very formal." Chen Shiping coughed and said, "When are we going to Silver Metro?" "Tomorrow morning at 8. Okay, then go to bed early today and talk about it tomorrow. Do you want to go out for a walk for the first time?" "I'm not in the mood. Let's talk about it after I finish my work." At night, Chen Shiping sat at the small table in the room, sorting out his film plans and scripts, which would be used tomorrow. Although Silver Metro is his own, it is not so easy to get investment, and he also has to find a way to deal with Li Lianji and Guan Zilin. There are many troubles. Li Lianji was coaxed into Golden Harvest at this time. It doesn't cost much to invite him to make a movie, but it may not be easy to communicate with Golden Harvest. Li Lianji's salary is very low. Golden Harvest squeezes him too hard. When he filmed Huan Fi Hang in 1991, his salary was only 1.5 million, ranking 6th among Hong Kong male stars. After leaving Golden Harvest in 1993, his salary skyrocketed, and he became the 2nd male star in Hong Kong, with a salary of 12 million for a movie. Chen Shiping came early. If he had come a few years later, no one could afford him. After 1991, the salary of actors in Hong Kong increased dramatically. However, the salaries of Hong Kong stars in the late 1980s were very low. There were very few stars who received more than 1 million, and Rosamund Kwan's salary was less than 600,000. Chen Shiping's budget of 5 million was enough to hire people. The only uncertainty was whether Jet Li and Rosamund Kwan were willing to go to the mainland to make movies. I don't know if the impact of the dissolution of Shaw Brothers in the past few years has passed. Nowadays, many stars still rely on the Taiwan market for their livelihood. However, the film industry in the two sides of the Taiwan Strait has been very magical in recent years. The funds from Taiwan, the technology from Hong Kong, and the labor from the mainland, this cooperation model is very popular. Chen Shiping thought for a while and went to bed. Let's go to Silver City tomorrow to find out the specific situation. The next day, Chen Shiping and Liu King were stopped by someone just as they came down from the hotel. As soon as the visitor met him, he shook Chen Shiping's hand enthusiastically and said that he was a fan of Chen Shiping's books and movies. Chen Shiping felt really strange when he listened to the other party's awkward Mandarin. The other party introduced himself as a person from Hong Kong Heilan Film Company, but Chen Shiping had never heard of this film company. It was Liu King who took the initiative to help introduce it. Chen Shiping only then knew that Heilan Film and Henan Film Studio had co-produced Ruan Shi Sanction. I heard that Mr. Chen came to Hong Kong this time to look for investment. Our Heilan is very interested. Chen Shiping frowned slightly, not knowing how he knew the news. He turned his head and looked at Liu King and found that she was also puzzled. My friend is from Xinlian. I heard the news when I was drinking with him. The other party smiled and said, after I knew it, I kept an eye on Mr. Chen's schedule. I came to meet you immediately when I knew you were coming. Chen Shiping smiled and nodded, wondering why the film company in Hong Kong was so enthusiastic about him who made art films. Did Yindu tell everyone about the subject matter he was going to shoot? If this is the case, it is not surprising. A Cannes winner is filming a martial arts film. It is full of gimmicks, and the investment will definitely not be lost. What's more, the film is about Huang Fihong, which has a big market in Hong Kong. But Chen Shiping has no time to argue with him now, and he is not ready to accept investment from outside Yindu, unless Yindu does not intend to invest. Sorry, I have an appointment with Director Liu of Yindu to meet at 9 o'clock. Let's talk next time. Chen Shiping was about to leave, and the people from Heilan Film immediately said, then I will wait for Mr. Chen to come back here. We are really sincere. I hope Mr. Chen can give us a chance to have a good chat in the evening. Seeing that he was so enthusiastic, Chen Shiping agreed perfunctorily and then left in a hurry with Liu King. On the way, Liu King also said with emotion that Chen Shiping had face. He took the initiative to come to the door to seek cooperation when he just came to the Hong Kong Film Company. Chen Shiping did not think he had any face, but it was just that co-production was popular and he was a little famous now. The two came to Yindu and were treated very well. They were received by Mr. Liu, the chairman of Yindu. This is an old filmmaker, and like Chen Shiping, he is also a writer. As soon as he saw Chen Shiping, Mr. Liu stood up happily and took the initiative to shake hands with Chen Shiping. Mr. Chen, I have heard of you for a long time. Mr. Liu shook Chen Shiping's hand and said happily, congratulations on becoming the first Chinese winner of the Cannes Grand Prix, and let Chinese language film shine in front of the world cinema. You are welcome, Director Liu. Chen Shiping felt the enthusiasm of this old man and acted very modestly. Director Liu and Liu King also shook hands and greeted each other before sitting down together to talk about business. He had received a phone call early to know the purpose of Chen Shiping's visit this time. I know Mr. Chen's intention very well, but I have to read the script first. There are many martial arts films co-produced in recent years, but not many of them can become popular. Hearing Mr. Liu's words, Chen Shiping directly handed over his film plan and script. Half an hour later, after Mr. Liu finished reading the script and film plan, his eyes were full of surprise. Holding Chen Shiping's hand, he said, the script is well written. This is the kind of martial arts movie we should make. It elevates love stories to patriotism. Great. Chen Shiping smiled and said, then are you willing to invest? Mr. Liu smiled and said, we must invest. But 1 million is too little. We need to pay more. Chapter 64. Remarks on the release. It will be on the shelves at the same time tomorrow at 6 p.m. This is the third time I have written a thank you note for the book. My mind is empty, and I don't know what to write. I have said too many words of thanks, but I still want to thank everyone for their long-term support. I don't know if there are still readers who have come from my first book. Thank you for your support. The current performance of this book is neither good nor bad. Although it is not as good as the previous one, it is not bad. At least 10,000 collections will be put on the shelves. At first, I thought it would take 8,000 collections to be put on the shelves. The only regret is that the follow-up reading did not increase during the park on Monday. I originally imagined King Sanjiang or strongly recommending it. Thank you for your support, my readers. In a word, after the book is put on the shelves, it will be updated stably every day, and the quality will be guaranteed. I will not let you down. No matter what the results are, I will write well. As for adding more chapters, if there are big guys who reward the leader, I will add 3 chapters. I won't say silver or anything like that. I haven't imagined it. If it really happens, I will add 10 chapters. If the first order exceeds 1000, I will also add 2 chapters. If the monthly ticket exceeds 1000 this month, I will also add 2 chapters. My dream is 1000 first orders. I hope you can support me. Without further ado, I will save my draft. Chapter 65. I'll let Guanzilin find you. 1 million is too little. We need to pay more. In the office of Yindu, Chen Shiping and Liu King looked at each other. They didn't expect that it would be so easy to get the investment. It seems that Yindu has been holding back for the past few years. The Shaolin series was started by them, but in recent years, the Hong Kong film companies have gone to the mainland to co-produce kung fu films, but none of them has the scale of Shaolin Temple. Suspense, curiosity, blood, and even pornography. These commercial element and gimmicks all show the color of capitalism. There is no scale at all, and only last year's Yellow River Hero is okay. Yindu is now suppressed by several companies such as Golden Harvest. If it weren't for holding several theaters, it would be really hard. Facing Director Liu's request for more money, Chen Shiping was very happy, but he could only decline. He is first of all a member of the Beijing Film Studio, and he must ensure the interests of the studio and his own and Liu King. After Chen Shiping and Director Liu explained the current investment situation in detail, he also understood and stopped forcing it. Everyone is in the same system, and many things don't need to be explained too clearly. Besides, as long as it is a co-production, the distribution in Hong Kong will definitely be done by Silver Metro, and Silver Metro will not lose, no matter how you calculate it. Chen Shiping wants to discuss not only the issue of investment with Silver Metro, but also the issue of overseas distribution. The distribution in Southeast Asia must rely on Silver Metro. As for other foreign regions, Chen Shiping is not considering it yet. After the film is released in China and Hong Kong, he will go to the French film distributor he has cooperated with before. After talking about the investment issue, Chen Shiping also told Mr. Liu that he wanted to invite Jet Li and Guanzilin. Speaking of Jet Li, Mr. Liu couldn't help frowning, and after a moment of silence, he said, "Let me ask for you. He has been very close to Lo Wen's son recently. Has he joined Golden Harvest?" Chen Shiping asked curiously. Liu Wenji said with some regret, "Even you know that Lo Wen's son is from Golden Harvest, but he still joined foolishly. I heard that he signed a 2-year contract." Chen Shiping. This may be the decision that Jet Li regrets most in his life. What about Guanzilin? She should be easier to invite. Chen Shiping said with a smile, "Mr. Liu, you are also the president of the South China Film Union. You should have a good relationship with Guanshan. Can you ask him for help?" Guanshan is the actor who played in The True Story of RQ. He is also Guanzilin's father. He was the most popular actor in the 1950s and 1960s. He was also an actor who graduated from the Great Wall actor class. Speaking of which, most of the actors and directors in Hong Kong have inextricable ties with Z-style film companies. Mr. Liu nodded and said, "I'm indeed very familiar with Guanshan. He basically never misses the tea party of the union. It's just that his relationship with Guanzilin is very tense. The conflict between father and daughter is known to the whole of Hong Kong." Hearing Mr. Liu's words, Chen Shiping felt that his information was too outdated. The relationship between Guanshan and Guanzilin was so bad. But it's not surprising when you think about it. Guanshan grew up in the mainland when he was a child. He loves literary and artistic movies. It's normal that he can't stand Guanzilin's style and relationships between men and women. Then can Mr. Liu help me contact Guanzilin? I will talk to her in person. Are you sure you want Guanzilin to play the 13th aunt? She has a bad reputation. You should pay attention to the impact. The mainland audience doesn't know. It's okay. Since you have considered it, then it's fine. I will ask her to meet you later. Chen Shiping. Come to my hotel? Isn't it not good? What if the paparazzi write nonsense? After leaving Yindu, Chen Shiping felt that this trip was a bit too smooth. It seems that the palm door is still useful. But the most important thing is the relationship in the factory, otherwise Yindu would not be so polite to him. It's easier to get things done with someone behind you. Speaking of which, Chen Shiping was promoted quite quickly. It only took him a few months to be promoted from the editorial office of the literature department to the producer of the art creation center. After the filming of Huang Fihang is finished, I should be able to be promoted from producer to deputy director of the editing and directing department. I will try to remove the word deputy next year, become the deputy director of the art creation center the year after, and then remove the word deputy again. By then, I can wait for Song Heng to retire. In fact, Chen Shiping has a better plan in mind, but he has to wait until the filming of Huang Fihang is finished before he can try it out. Downstairs of the Silver Capital Agency, Liu King looked at Chen Shiping and said with a smile, "Shipping, if you have nothing to do in the afternoon, come shopping with me." "No problem, I just happen to be shopping too." Chen Shiping still had a shopping list given to him by Tao Humin in his pocket. He was about to move to a new house, and he had to buy all the furniture and appliances. The weather in Hong Kong is very hot, much hotter than in Beijing. Chen Shiping and Liu King were sweating profusely after walking on the street for a while. It's better not to go shopping in this broken street. Let the rich sister have fun by herself. Chen Shiping stuffed her shopping list into Liu King's hand and said, "Sister, go shopping by yourself. I remembered that I still need to ask for a martial arts instructor, so I need to go back and prepare some materials." Liu King grabbed Chen Shiping and complained, "There are so many things on your list. You don't expect a woman like me to carry them back for you, do you? Look at what you want to buy: VCRs, rice cookers." Chen Shiping, "Sister, it's 2 weeks, you buy one a day." Liu King, "Don't even think about running away today." When Chen Shiping was caught by Liu King to go shopping, Director Liu had already called Jet Li to ask about his recent situation. The call was quickly answered by Jet Li. "Jet Li, are you still having trouble with Golden Harvest recently? Do you have time to take on a movie?" Director Liu asked directly. Jet Li has been in a state of panic recently. He originally wanted to find an agent, or the son of director Lo Wei who invited him back to film, but who would have thought that this kid was from Golden Harvest? "Mr. Liu, I don't want to take the role for the time being. I want to deal with the Golden Harvest business first," Mr. Liu said while holding the phone. "Please take a look at the script first. This is a good opportunity. Do you know who is looking for you?" "Who?" Jet Li asked curiously. "There are only a few big directors in Hong Kong who make martial arts movies, and he has basically worked with all of them. This year's Cannes Grand Prix winner, the most famous producer in the mainland, Chen Shiping." Jet Li on the other end of the phone was stunned. His mind was a little confused. He knew Chen Shiping, but such a person asked him to act. His literary dramas were a mess. Did he find the wrong person? Jet Li asked in disbelief. "Mr. Liu, what movie? You can't be mistaken." Mr. Liu smiled and said, "Of course it's true, a martial arts movie, a very good script, written by Chen Shiping himself. Is Chen Shiping still in Yindu? I'll go there now." Jet Li couldn't help but be moved, and vaguely felt that his chance had come. After Mr. Liu finished talking to Jet Li, he called Guan Zilin again. After briefly explaining the whole story, he asked Guan Zilin to go to the Regent Hotel to find Chen Shiping. As the chairman of Silver Capital, he could call Guan Zilin, even if he was not from his company. In other words, no star in Hong Kong dared to not give him face. "Do you really think Silver Capital is just a simple film company?" Exclamation mark. "Who in Hong Kong dares to think so? That's too naive." Guan Zilin was a little confused at this time. He didn't understand why a mainland producer would ask him to make a movie. Is his acting so good? Or has his fame spread to the mainland? Shouldn't he ask Bridget Lin and others? It's really strange. Guan Zilin had never heard of Chen Shiping's name, so he immediately ran to inquire about the specific situation of this guy. He couldn't just go there rashly. The person who made Mr. Liu of Silver Capital call in person must be no ordinary person. What if this guy is a wealthy man in the mainland? "I'm sorry everyone, there was a small accident, and it delayed us. I'm sorry to all you godfathers." Chapter 66 The future director Chen It was past 5 in the evening, and the sun in Hong Kong was still high in the sky, with no sign of setting. Chen Shiping and Liu King came out of the shopping mall in Central with large and small bags, as if they had just swept through the mall. However, the two spoke Mandarin, and many Hong Kong people passing by rolled their eyes in disdain. Chen Shiping didn't understand what those people were saying, but he could guess. But he was not angry at all. When someone calls you an unwavering, it means that he is jealous of your wealth. Liu King has long been accustomed to Hong Kong people being like this, and this is not the first time they have come. Chen Shiping put one hand on his waist and reached out to take a taxi, then turned to Liu King and said, "I'm so tired today, and I still haven't bought more than half of the things." Liu King smiled and joked, "You can choose not to buy them, and see if our minimum will be angry with you when you go back." "No, Xiao Beike is very gentle," Chen Shiping said boastfully. The list that Tao Human gave him was not only the things she wanted to buy, but also the things that colleagues from the actor troupe in the factory asked Tao Human to help bring. There are too few people who can go out these days. Not to mention coming to Hong Kong. Even if you go to Shanghai on a business trip, you will be asked by colleagues and friends to bring a lot of things. It's just like purchasing on behalf of others. Chen Shiping returned to the Regent Hotel and hadn't gone upstairs yet when he suddenly saw a man walking towards him. Then he remembered that there was someone from a film company waiting for him. After asking the waiter to help him deliver the things, Chen Shiping took the initiative to walk towards the man. "Hello, are you from the Haywang Film Company?" Chen Shiping didn't remember the name very clearly, so he didn't listen carefully in the morning. "Haylong. I'm Li Minghua from Haylong Film Company." The man in a delicate shirt and his hair were combed meticulously. Even if Chen Shiping called the wrong name, he didn't show any impatience. "Sorry, I was too hurried this morning and didn't remember it," Chen Shiping said apologetically. "Mr. Lee, I have already discussed cooperation with Yindu, so I won't delay your company's time." Li Minghua didn't expect Chen Shiping to get the investment so quickly, but he still didn't plan to give up. Even if he didn't cooperate this time, he could still cooperate in the future. "It doesn't matter. I just want to make friends with Mr. Chen. I wonder if you can do me the honor of having dinner with me tonight." Chen Shiping agreed after a little thought. It wouldn't hurt to get to know more people. But when they were having dinner together in the evening, Chen Shiping finally saw the generosity of the Hong Kong Film Company. A balloon and lobster seemed to be free, and thousands of dollars of wine were opened at will. Li Minghua took out a beautifully packaged box, opened it and handed it to Chen Shiping, smiling and said, "Mr. Chen, you are a great writer. I prepared a gift for you. I hope you like it." The golden pen shone brightly under the light. "This color looks expensive." No wonder Li Lianji couldn't resist the temptation at the beginning. People live for fame and fortune. Chen Shiping looked at the pen glowing under the light and liked it in his heart, but he didn't accept it without merit. You can make friends when you have a meal, but it's not appropriate to receive gifts. Chen Shiping put the pen back into the box, gently pushed it back and said, "I appreciate Mr. Lee's kindness, but I won't accept it without merit." Li Minghua was a little surprised that Chen Shiping would refuse. He tried to persuade him a few more times, but he still didn't accept it, so he had to give up. "Mr. Chen, I wonder if Beijing Film Studio has plans to make co-productions in the future? Will it set up a co-production department like Zion Film Studio?" Li Minghua was most concerned about this issue. Among the film studios in the mainland, Beijing Film Studio was one of the top ones. "This time we came to Hong Kong to seek investment, which is an experiment," Chen Shiping said while drinking tea. "If it succeeds this time, we will set up a co-production department in the future." Li Minghua was moved by what he said and smiled and said, "Then I congratulate Mr. Chen in advance on his promotion." After this, Chen Shiping smiled and didn't respond. It was just bragging, and he didn't have to take responsibility anyway. However, this was indeed the promotion plan he prepared for himself. Instead of being the deputy director of the editing, directing and shooting department, it would be better to be the director of the co-production department. Why do you want a deputy position? Just do the full-time job. Please call Director Chen from now on. Liu King, who had been sitting next to him and eating, looked at him very unexpectedly. He didn't expect that there was a plan to set up a co-production department. If someone is chosen from the factory to lead the co-production department, it seems that there is no more suitable person than Chen Shiping. On the way back to the hotel at night, Liu King looked at Chen Shiping's young profile and really admired him in his heart. He took one step and looked 3 steps ahead. Liu King also knew about Song Zion's crisis this time. She didn't expect Chen Shiping to seize this opportunity. Others were too late to hide, and only he was thinking about how to strive for the top. Maybe in a few years, he will be called Director Chen. Chen Shiping didn't care that his ambition was exposed to Liu King. He let the rich sister see his potential so that he could fool more money in the future. Back to the hotel room at night, Chen Shiping lay on the bed and couldn't sleep. When a man stays in a hotel and there are small cards in the room, he will always be distracted. It's like seeing a small advertisement on the car. Even if there is no money in your pocket, you can't help but be curious and scan the code to take a look. But it's just curiosity. There is no grade at all in the building seam. Chen Shiping was just about to lie down when the phone suddenly rang. He picked it up without thinking too much, and his face darkened. "Sir, do you want any service? There's a northern girl who just arrived." "Northern girl? Get lost." Chen Shiping cursed and hung up the phone. "Fuck you. Can't you let me sleep?" At this time, in a high-end apartment in Central, Guanzilin was flipping through a traditional Chinese novel. The name of the novel was Zhusanguan Selling Blood, but she threw it aside after flipping through a few pages and took out a movie tape given by a friend. The movie was also Zhusanguan Selling Blood. She asked someone to find out Chen Shiping's information, but only got 2 pieces of information: a famous mainland writer and producer, and a winner of the Palme d'Or. Guanzilin was very curious why Chen Shiping would look for her, so she found the novel and the tape. Mainly, she wanted to see what style of movies Chen Shiping shot, and why he asked her to act. When she saw Chen Shiping's name appear several times in the subtitles at the beginning of the movie, Guanzilin felt that he must be a person who loves to show off. Soon the movie started, and Guanzilin didn't like the style of this kind of art film. But after patiently watching for a few minutes, she was attracted by the content of the movie. It was not until the end of the movie that Guanzilin came back to her senses. She touched the corners of her eyes and found that they were a little wet. A man like Zhusanguan is really good. Guanzilin likes such a responsible man deep in her heart. The joy of Zhusanguan and the children in the movie reminded her of her childhood, which was the happiest time of her life. No matter how busy her parents were, they would leave someone to take care of her and her brother. It was a pity that her father later fell in love with someone else, and her mother took her brother to the United States. From that time on, her happiness disappeared. From then on, she began to resent her father and started to find Huang Mao to make him angry. Later, she found that all men were the same. In the dim living room, the red wine on the coffee table wasn't a shade, and only the TV was emitting bursts of fluorescence. Guanzilin sat on the sofa with her knees bent and her legs hugged, watching the picture of Zhusanguan surrounded by his family on TV, and felt very lonely in her heart. It would be great if all men were like Zhusanguan, supporting a family by themselves and selling blood for their children to treat their illnesses. After being sad for a while, Guanzilin turned her head to look at the phone number that Director Liu left for her and dialed it after a moment of hesitation. Chen Shiping, who had just fallen asleep in the Regent Hotel, was awakened by the phone call. Looking at the ringing landline, she felt a little irritated. She finally fell asleep and was awakened again. "Is the building seam business in Hong Kong so bad? And you still call me?" Exclamation mark. Chen Shiping picked up the phone with an inexplicable temper when he got up and shouted, "I told you not to serve. You don't understand Mandarin? Don't call me again." Guanzilin on the other side rubbed his ears blankly. Was he scolded without saying a word? Guanzilin, who came back to his senses, couldn't help laughing. It seems that this producer Chen was harassed by the pimp. Guanzilin felt a little funny, and she didn't get angry, even if she was scolded a few times. To be honest, she admired Chen Shiping for keeping himself clean. She has seen many people from the mainland who come to Hong Kong to make a living. They are very honest when they have no money, but they can't help looking for women after working hard to make money. Chen Shiping is definitely not a struggling poor man. The newspaper reported that he sold the copyright of Zusanguan for a high price of $1 million US. So he is not the kind of poor man who is too poor to find women, but he really keeps himself clean. Before they met, Guanzilin suddenly developed a liking for Chen Shiping. She felt that what she saw in this unexpected situation was a person's true character, and the carefully prepared meetings were all performances. Guanzilin lay on the sofa with her hands on her chest, looking forward to meeting Chen Shiping tomorrow. Chapter 67 Guanzilin, I don't deserve it. Knock, knock, knock. Shipping. Are you up? Liu Xiaoqing, dressed exquisitely, stood outside Chen Shiping's door and knocked. In the room, Chen Shiping was woken up in a daze. He yawned and went to open the door, to see Liu Xiaoqing standing outside. Didn't you sleep well last night? Can't sleep without arminimum. Liu Xiaoqing walked into the room teasingly, and sat on the messy bed that Chen Shiping slept on directly without looking down on it. Director Liu called and asked us to go to Yindu in the afternoon. Li Lianji wants to meet you. Chen Shiping immediately became energetic when he heard it. Director Liu was so efficient. Li Lianji wanted to meet him. It seemed that he was attracted by the script. It's still early now. Let's go out for a walk first, and then go to Yindu. Liu Xiaoqing said, while looking at the lady's watch he had just bought on his wrist. No, I'll take a nap and go in the afternoon. You can go shopping by yourself. Chen Shiping fell on the bed and didn't want to get up. Liu Xiaoqing was helpless. Is there no man in the world who likes shopping? Seeing Chen Shiping's lazy look, Liu Xiaoqing was too lazy to call him and went out shopping by himself. However, Chen Shiping had not slept for a few minutes when the phone in the room rang again. This time it must not be the pimp, because the pimps were off work at around 8 o'clock in the morning. Chen Shiping crawled over to pick up the phone and asked in a somewhat listless manner, "Hello, who is this?" "Hello, Mr. Chen, I'm Guanzilin, and I'm at the Regent Hotel now." A slightly playful female voice came into Chen Shiping's ears, immediately dispelling all his sleepiness. Guanzilin came directly to the hotel? Question mark. Chen Shiping was a little surprised that she spoke Mandarin well, but her parents both came from the Hong Kong Mandarin Film Company and spoke Mandarin, so her Mandarin was naturally not bad. Chen Shiping immediately sat up, cleared his throat and said, "Hello, Miss Guan, please wait a moment, I'll be down soon." Guanzilin chuckled and said, "Don't worry, I'll wait for you in the cafe on the first floor." After another polite remark, Chen Shiping hung up the phone, got up, washed up briefly, put on his clothes and went downstairs. Mr. Liu is really efficient. Yindu is still a brand. In the cafe downstairs, Guanzilin was wearing a black retro wide-brimmed hat, and the only makeup on her face was a pair of sunglasses and bright red lipstick. Chen Shiping saw Guanzilin from a distance. Her temperament was very prominent, and she could be recognized at a glance. Guanzilin also recognized Chen Shiping with his legs crossed and his chin supported by one hand, not because he had seen the photo, but because he was really dressed like a Han conjure. Chen Shiping's appearance was not much different from the photo. Guanzilin was not surprised, but felt that he was very energetic, like a bamboo that broke through the ground, not like a refined scholar at all. Chen Shiping walked up to Guanzilin, stretched out his hand and said, "Miss Guan, hello." "Hello." Guanzilin stretched out her hand and shook it lightly with Chen Shiping before withdrawing it. Chen Shiping sat down and saw that she had already ordered coffee, so she stretched out her hand and called the waiter to order a cup for herself. Looking at the beautiful Guanzilin, Chen Shiping did not chat, but asked directly, "Miss Guan, have you read the script? Are you interested in this movie?" "I'm interested." Guanzilin propped up her chin and looked at him and said cunningly, "But I haven't read the script yet, and I don't even know what the movie is called." Chen Shiping, how can you be interested if you haven't read the script? Exclamation mark. Then Miss Guan, wait a moment, I'll go upstairs to get the script. Chen Shiping was about to get the script, but was stopped by Guanzilin. "Mr. Chen, just talk to me directly, so there's no need to be so troublesome." Hearing Guanzilin's words, Chen Shiping felt a little bad. He didn't even read the script, which meant he was not interested. It seemed that he was just giving face to Mr. Liu, but he still had to fight for it. Guanzilin's 13th aunt was still very classic. After Chen Shiping sat down again, he said, since Miss Guan likes to listen to people talking about the script, that's fine. The background of the story takes place in Foshan in the late Qing dynasty, and it tells the story of Huang Fihang. Guan Zilin propped up his chin and looked at Chen Shiping's serious storytelling. He thought he was quite handsome, mainly because he didn't look at her with lustful eyes like other men. If she wasn't very confident about her appearance, she would have doubted whether she had no charm. Chen Shiping was really in no mood to appreciate beauty now. He just wanted to get the role quickly. If Guan Zilin was not interested, he would have to find Lin Qingsha to try. This trip to Hong Kong couldn't be just for the 1 million investment. How could it be considered a co-production without the participation of Hong Kong actors? And how could he propose to the studio to set up a co-production department later? When would he get director Chen who didn't match him? Appreciating beauty is not as important as getting promoted. It's not too late to appreciate it slowly after becoming the director of the co-production department of the Beijing film studio in the future. Exclamation mark. Chen Shiping still understood the principle of eating one meal and then eating one meal. 10 minutes later, Chen Shiping finished the story, took a sip of coffee to refresh himself, and said to Guan Zilin very seriously, Auntie 13 is a very good character, not of ours. She is knowledgeable and thoughtful, independent, tenacious, idealistic and loving. She is the guide of Huang Fihang's thoughts. I hope Miss Guan will seriously consider it. Guan Zilin also thought that this role was very good, and the story was also exciting enough. It was not like Hong Kong movies, which were either romantic, spoof or erotic. The most important thing was that she was very curious about why Chen Shiping chose her for such a positive role as Auntie 13. Mr. Chen, can you tell me why you chose me? Guan Zilin asked very curiously. Because of your temperament. Chen Shiping paused and explained, your temperament has the classical beauty of China and the independent and avant-garde temperament of Western women. Most Hong Kong actresses have too much Hong Kong flavor and rarely have classical beauty. Hearing Chen Shiping's explanation, Guan Zilin subconsciously put down her legs. She never thought that Chen Shiping would evaluate her like this. If she hadn't been sitting opposite him, she would have suspected that he was talking about Lin Qingsha. Do you really think so? Mr. Chen, do you pay attention to the news in Hong Kong? Guan Zilin suddenly asked unconfidently. Chen Shiping nodded gently and said, I have learned about it, but it is not important. I only believe in my own vision. In my eyes, Miss Guan is what I said. Guan Zilin looked at Chen Shiping, who was serious and sincere, and did not see any deliberate flattery or lies. A flash of surprise flashed through his mind, and he sat up straighter unconsciously. No one has ever commented on her like this, especially after the frequent scandals in the past 2 years. Everyone thinks that she has changed from a jade girl to a lustful woman. Guan Zilin suddenly didn't know how to face a role like 13th aunt. She felt that she was not worthy of it. Chen Shiping's compliments made her a little unable to face it. She would rather Chen Shiping chose her because she was beautiful. Mr. Chen, I need to think about it. Guan Zilin suddenly picked up her handbag, stood up and said, I will reply to you as soon as possible. Sorry, I have something to do and left first. After that, Guan Zilin left. Chen Shiping looked at her back and couldn't help sighing in his heart. He praised her so seriously, but he still had to consider it. Is it because he didn't talk about the salary? The key is that he was not given a chance to speak out. The girl ran too fast. Chen Shiping felt that his sincere speech just now was a bit wasted. Such rhetoric could not win over Guan Zilin. It was indeed not simple. Thinking of Guan Zilin's previous love history, Chen Shiping felt that it would be better to talk about the pay directly. His previous approach might be more suitable for mainland actors. Outside the hotel, Guan Zilin ran out and looked up at the sun, wondering why the sun was so dazzling today. But the feeling of the sun shining on her body was so warm, as if it dispelled all the inferiority in her body. There is no woman who doesn't care about her reputation, but sometimes she pretends to be strong. Guan Zilin took off her sunglasses and squinted at the sky, enjoying the sunshine at the moment. Suddenly, she couldn't help but look back at Chen Shiping in the coffee shop through the French window. The sun was shining on his white shirt at this time, so bright that it seemed to be glowing. Chapter 68 Have you asked your mother? Exclamation mark. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the air conditioner in the chairman's office of the Silver Capital organization continued to emit cold air. Lee Lian-ji was sitting on the sofa and still reading the script, but he felt a little hot. Although he had read the script in his hand several times, he was still reluctant to put it down. The role of Huang Fihang was too suitable for him, and he really liked this role. This script was his favorite among the martial arts films he had shot in recent years. He felt that the role of Huang Fihang would become his most famous role. Director Liao smiled at this, and felt that Lee Lian-ji still had basic aesthetics and a good vision. Director Liao, when will producer Chen come? Lee Lian-ji was a little impatient. Director Liao glanced at the time and said, "It should be here soon." "What? Can't wait." Lee Lian-ji didn't know how to express his feelings. He was a very superstitious person, and believed in that kind of mysterious feeling. Not long after, Chen Shiping and Liu King arrived. As soon as he entered Mr. Liu's office, before Chen Shiping could stand still, he saw a man walking up to him quickly. He took Chen Shiping's hand with some excitement and said, "Producer Chen, hello, I'm Lee Lian-ji." Chen Shiping was a little uncomfortable with the sudden enthusiasm, so he shook Lee Lian-ji's hand and said, "Hello, I'm Chen Shiping." Mr. Liu came over and said, "Come on, sit down and talk." Lee Lian-ji then withdrew his hand and took a closer look at Chen Shiping, who was about the same age as him, and felt that he was not quite the same as he had imagined. Liu King was ignored by Lee Lian-ji the whole time, so he had to take the initiative to greet him. Lee Lian-ji immediately greeted Liu King politely. Liu King was no less famous than him, and he was also a senior, so he naturally had to respect him. After they sat down, Lee Lian-ji said to Chen Shiping, "Producer Chen, thank you very much for asking me to play the role of Huang Fihang. The script is so well written." The young Lee Lian-ji was not very calm, and Lee Lian-ji, who didn't brag, was not a complete person. Chen Shiping looked at him and said, "Are you willing to take this role?" "Of course," Jet Li said immediately. Chen Shiping was delighted, but then he thought of the Golden Harvest he had signed a contract with, and there were a lot of troubles there, so he asked, "Will Golden Harvest agree?" When mentioning Golden Harvest, Jet Li's face showed some unnaturalness, but he still said seriously, "No problem. Golden Harvest has not arranged any movies for me. I will negotiate with Golden Harvest." Hearing Jet Li's assurance, Chen Shiping felt relieved, and said with a smile, "Then this role belongs to you. Let's talk about the salary now." "Thank you." Jet Li thanked him and said, "I will go back and discuss the salary with David." Chen Shiping nodded. "The salary must be discussed with the company and the agent. I just hope it is not too expensive, otherwise Chen Shiping may have to consider the candidate." Without considering the salary issue for the time being, Chen Shiping asked another question. "It's okay for a movie to be co-produced with the mainland, so it can't be shown in Taiwan. The relationship has eased a bit in recent years, but the Cultural Bureau of Taiwan is still quite troublesome." Lee Lian-ji shook his head and said, "It doesn't matter. My previous movies have never been shown in Taiwan." "That's good. I wish you a happy cooperation in the future," Chen Shiping said with a smile. Lee Lian-ji was willing to act, and the atmosphere in the office became relaxed. Several people sat together and talked about the future trends of Hong Kong movies and co-productions. In recent years, Hong Kong movies have been increasingly moving towards entertainment and kitsch. The reasons are actually very simple. From a population of 500,000 in the 1950s to a population of more than 5 million today, a small town has become a large economic center city. The gap between the rich and the poor is too large, the class is solidified, and capital is rampant. The citizens have become indifferent, selfish, and helpless. Watching movies is for fun, not for looking forward to the future, because there is no future. The current situation of mainland movies is just the opposite. With the continuous development of the economy and the growing strength of the country, everyone likes to look forward to the future, or pursue spiritual needs. It was not until the millennium that the gap between the rich and the poor widened, and the market trend began to change. After chatting for a while, Lee Lian-ji left and went to discuss the matter with his agent. If he didn't settle this matter as soon as possible, Lee Lian-ji always felt uneasy, but he was also worried that Golden Harvest would ask for too much. If he took Golden Harvest's own drama, the salary would definitely be kept to the lowest to maintain the company's interests. But if he took other companies' dramas, Golden Harvest would definitely raise the price to earn more commissions. The standard salary for him by Golden Harvest was 1.5 million, but it was unknown how much it would be to the outside world. After Lee Lian-ji hurried back to Golden Harvest, he immediately talked about this matter with his agent, and his main concern was the salary issue. "David, I have to take this drama. This is a drama produced by Beijing Film Studio and Yundu Film Studio. I can't refuse." Lee Lian-ji deliberately lied to his agent and said, "If you don't take it, you may not be able to return to the mainland to develop in the future, and Golden Harvest's dramas will also be affected." David said nonchalantly, "No one said you can't take it. How much do they pay you?" As an agent who changed his job halfway, he was not qualified. He signed Lee Lian-ji because he thought he could help the company make money. Later, Jet Li left Golden Harvest, and this guy could no longer sign anyone. Jet Li said directly, 1 million. You know the system in the mainland, this is already a sky-high price, and it can't even be announced to the public. Hearing the price of 1 million, David frowned. The company would not get much of the 1 million salary. Too low. You are a kung fu superstar. This salary is definitely not acceptable. David said dissatisfiedly, the company's interests will also be damaged if the salary is so low. Jet Li was about to speak, but was interrupted by David. "I will talk to Yindu about this matter, don't worry about it." David's attitude made Jet Li very unhappy. Not only was he fooled into coming here, but he was also interfered with when he took the role. However, the contract has been signed, and there is no way now. At Yindu, Chen Shiping and Director Liao were talking about martial arts guidance, and his secretary knocked on the door and said that Jet Li's agent was here. Chen Shiping and Director Liao looked at each other and felt that trouble was coming. As expected, their worries were realized. After David came in, he said that the salary would be 2.5 million, and this price almost made Chen Shiping angry. "The price increase is not so high. You are taking advantage of him." When Chen Shiping was about to speak, Mr. Liao, who was sitting on a chair, suddenly said, "David, 2.5 million is impossible. Have you asked your mother before you quoted this price?" Hearing Mr. Liao's words, Chen Shiping almost couldn't help laughing. "Have you asked your mother?" Haha, sharp. David's face turned red after being choked by Mr. Liao's words, and he said with a choke, "I'm his agent, and I can naturally make the decision on this matter." Seeing David like this, Mr. Liao shook his head and said, "I will talk to your mother about this matter. You are not qualified to talk to me. Get out." The secretary next to him immediately stretched out his hand to David and said, "Mr. Luo, please." Looking at the tall secretary with the tight suit, David dared not speak angrily, and turned and went out with a snort. Chen Shiping looked at the back of Mr. Liao's secretary, wondering if this was a bodyguard sent from the mainland. It looked very bluffing. Is it the legendary sea bodyguard? I don't know when I can get to this point. Chen Shiping was very envious, but he did not hold out hope for it. Even if he became a factory director, he probably would not have such treatment. Life in the country was prosperous and peaceful, so why would he need a bodyguard? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69. There's something wrong with this girl. "Mr. Liao, you are so domineering," Chen Shiping said to Mr. Liao with a smile. Mr. Liao shook his head nonchalantly and said, "Kids nowadays don't know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is." Chen Shiping followed with a laugh. He really admired the chairman. As a Z-style filmmaker who has been floating in Hong Kong for decades, he has seen countless big scenes. Seeing Chen Shiping in a daze, Mr. Liao said with a relaxed look, "I will handle this matter. You don't have to worry about it. By the way, did Guan Zilin come to see you?" "Then I'll trouble Mr. Liao. I have already met Miss Guan this morning." Chen Shiping sighed and said, "But she said she would consider it." Mr. Liao nodded and said nothing. He couldn't do everything for Chen Shiping himself. In the evening, Chen Shiping and Liu King returned to the hotel to eat and went back to their room to rest. When he returned to the room and saw the landline on the bedside, he suddenly remembered that he didn't leave Guan Zilin's phone number. Now he couldn't persuade him a few more words. "Why are you running so fast? I don't eat people," Chen Shiping muttered, took off his clothes, and went to the bathroom to take a shower. 3 minutes later, Chen Shiping came out of the bathroom with wet hair. Men take showers so quickly. Ring, ring, ring. Chen Shiping, who was wiping his hair with a towel, immediately ran over to answer the phone. There were only a few people who knew his room phone number, either Mr. Liu or Guan Zilin. As soon as the phone was connected, and he heard Guan Zilin's voice, Chen Shiping immediately became serious and asked seriously, "Miss Guan, have you considered it? If you have any concerns, we can discuss it." Guan Zilin was at home at this time, and the room was dark and the lights were not on. The air conditioner kept blowing out the cold air. She sat on the sofa with her legs hugged, missing the warm sunshine in the morning. Hearing the voice of Chen Shiping on the phone with a little electric noise, Guan Zilin said with a little relaxation, "I have considered it. I will take this play." Chen Shiping, who was naked in the room, was overjoyed and stood up immediately and said, "Great, Miss Guan, you will never regret it." Chen Shiping stood up too quickly and it hurt a little when he swung his thigh. He almost couldn't hold it and took a breath of cold air. Guan Zilin on the other end of the phone didn't notice anything unusual. He was very relaxed and held the phone to chat with Chen Shiping. Chen Shiping wanted to hang up, but it was difficult to refuse Guan Zilin because the contract had not been signed yet. Guan Zilin's salary was very low, even lower than Chen Shiping expected, only 400,000 Hong Kong dollars. The salary of actresses in Hong Kong can't be compared with that of male actors at all. It's really cheap. After talking about the issue of salary, Chen Shiping felt that it was quite easy to sign a contract for a female star like Guan Zilin who was not very popular. She signed with ATV, which didn't have as many troubles as Golden Harvest. However, the two of them ran out of topics quickly. They had only met once and didn't know each other, so how could there be so many topics to talk about? In addition, Chen Shiping just wanted to blow dry her hair and put on her clothes quickly. It always felt a bit perverted to talk to a big beauty naked on the phone. But Guan Zilin didn't want to hang up the phone. Today, she suddenly wanted to find someone to talk to. Chen Shiping's words today touched her a lot. The two were silent over the phone. Guan Zilin sat on the sofa with his knees hugged, looking at his toes painted with red nails, and suddenly asked, "Mr. Chen, do you have a girlfriend?" Chen Shiping's mind was full of question marks, thinking that he was not rich, but he still said, "I have a girlfriend." What's wrong with having a girlfriend? Guan Zilin was about to say something, but the word suddenly stopped at her lips. She remembered what Chen Shiping said to her today, and the figure shining in the sun. He said, "I look like 13th aunt." 13th aunt would not say frivolous words. The words that almost blurted out just now made Guan Zilin feel a little inferior in his heart, and finally he just hummed into the phone. "Then I won't disturb your rest. I'll sign a contract with you tomorrow. Bye." Guan Zilin hung up the phone after he finished speaking and sighed deeply in the dark. Chen Shiping felt that Guan Zilin was inexplicably confused, and after putting down the phone, he went to blow his hair. The issue of the actor was resolved, and Chen Shiping had no pressure in his heart. The only problem left was the issue of martial arts guidance. There are many martial arts masters in China, but the martial arts instructors are really lame. Chen Shiping can only find a team from Hong Kong now, which is another huge sum of money. Most of the 5 million budget is prepared for the actors in the martial arts instructor team. In fact, there is no need to spend so much money to shoot a film in China. Damn it. Chen Shiping decided to go back and save more money in other places. The wages of the employees in the factory cannot be much less than those in Hong Kong. Not to say that it is equal, at least it should not be disappointing. After blowing his hair, Chen Shiping sat at the small table and began to calculate where he could save more money and raise the salary. After a few hours of busy work, Chen Shiping went to bed and fell asleep. Chen Shiping was not idle for the next 2 days. After he settled the contract with Guan Zilin, he went to Yuan Heping to discuss the issue of martial arts instructor. Now the most famous martial arts instructor team in Hong Kong is not the Yuan family, but only the Yuan family meets Chen Shiping's requirements. He doesn't want to go to the Liu brothers like Zuke and then have an unpleasant quarrel and delay the shooting time. The Liu brothers are considered the descendants of Huang Fihong, which may be the reason why Zuke originally found him, but the Liu brothers' philosophy of hard bridges, hard horses, real swords, real guns and real kung fu no longer meets the market requirements. Those martial arts movements were popular a few years ago, but now the audience is tired of them and will be eliminated by the market sooner or later. Yuan Heping is easy to talk to. He is not opposed to cooperating with mainland film studios. On the contrary, he is very supportive. After chatting with Chen Shiping for a few days, he agreed and started to design martial arts movements. Hong Kong filmmakers are really efficient. After solving all the problems, Chen Shiping only had one thing left to do, that is, the issue of Jet Li's salary. Mr. Liu has not called him in the past few days, and I don't know how it was solved. After Chen Shiping arrived at Yindu, he was led to the chairman's office. After entering, he saw Jet Li and his agent. Mr. Liu looked at Chen Shiping and said with a smile, "You are just in time, come and sign the contract." Chen Shiping glanced at Jet Li's agent and found that he no longer had the arrogance he had before. A useless person who relied on his mother to cheat his father was not worth his second glance. Li Lianji smiled and said to Chen Shiping happily, "Producer Chen, this matter has finally been resolved. I hope we can make a wonderful movie." "I will," Chen Shiping replied with a smile. After chatting with Mr. Liu for a few words, Chen Shiping knew how much Li Lianji's contract salary was, 1.7 million. It was still within Chen Shiping's acceptable range. His original budget was 1.8 million, and now he saved another 100,000 yuan. Thanks to Mr. Liu, this 100,000 yuan can pay more wages to the employees in the factory and win over a wave of people. Chen Shiping's current status is not a small editor, and the leader naturally has to seek benefits for the employees. Spending other people's money to do your own business is what the producer has to do. After everything was done, they went home, and the Huang Fihong movie was officially launched. Chen Shiping came with 2 people and brought more than a dozen people back, with 1 million from Yindu in his pocket. It was a great harvest. On the way back to the capital, Chen Shiping was very proud, and even the pile of things he bought in Hong Kong were helped by the Yuan family. The only bad thing was that Guan Zilin always stared at him intentionally or unintentionally, and Chen Shiping felt a little uncomfortable. Is there something wrong with this girl? He didn't have any money in his pocket. Chapter 70. Is love enough to satisfy one's hunger? In the vast field, a train passed through, dividing the green field into 2 halves. There were several children riding on the backs of cows in the field, looking at the train longingly. The field kept receding, but the green mountains in the distance remained motionless, and the children herding cattle slowly disappeared from sight. In the soft sleeper compartment of the train, Chen Shiping retracted his gaze. The Beijing-Guangzhou Railway was opened very early, but it was a pity that the Beijing-Kowloon Railway had not been repaired. Otherwise, it would be possible to go directly from the special administrative region to the capital. Chen Shiping looked at Guan Zilin, who was sitting opposite him. She was staring at the scenery outside the window in a daze, as if she had never seen such a scenery. Chen Shiping took the train deliberately. One is to save some money, and the other is to let some Hong Kong people in the team see the vastness and richness of the motherland. Isn't that a small place in Hong Kong with more and taller buildings? The scenery is as beautiful as in the mainland. After watching for a while, Guan Zilin retracted his gaze and said to Chen Shiping, "The scenery here is really beautiful." Chen Shiping smiled and said, "Look at the beautiful mountains and rivers of the motherland more often, and find the feeling of 13th aunt. Is this why you want to take the train?" Guan Zilin suddenly had an absurd idea in his mind. "He took the train to help me." Of course, Chen Shiping would not admit that he took the train mainly to save money. It would be too embarrassing to say it out. I just think Guan Zilin is quite good at imagination. He had never thought of this excuse before. After a while, Liu King, who couldn't stay idle, came with a deck of cards to invite Li Lianji and the other 4 to play cards together. At the other end of the carriage, in the compartment where Yuan Heping lived, his deputy was complaining that Chen Shiping was too stingy. Yuan Heping looked at him sideways and said, if you don't want to sit, walk by yourself. You say such a depressing thing with such a beautiful scenery. The deputy pursed his lips and dared not say a word, but he didn't think there was anything beautiful about the scenery outside. Isn't it just farmland and mountains? It's just a rural area. Some Hong Kong people who are used to seeing high-rise buildings like this kind of scenery, while others cannot see what this vast land means. Not everyone has vision, and some people are destined to never achieve anything great in their lives. It takes a long time to get from Guangzhou to Beijing. The green train is very slow, and it is very troublesome to eat and sleep on the train. Chen Shiping felt that he was a lot more haggard, and his beard was coming out. Fortunately, the station was about to arrive today. Chen Shiping took a razor and shaved his beard with Liu King's small mirror. He would see Xiao Beike when he got off the train, so he couldn't be so haggard, and he had to stick to it. Guanzilin and Liu King sat on the bed opposite and chatted, looking at Chen Shiping from time to time. Liu King also teased Chen Shiping that a big man paid too much attention to his image. Chen Shiping rolled his eyes at her. Not all women like rough men with stubble like Jiang Wen. Soon the train stopped in Beijing, and Chen Shiping led people out of the train station exit and saw Tao Human at a glance. He immediately ran over to hug her, and the two hugged each other face to face, showing off to the envy of the people around them. If there weren't so many people, Chen Shiping would have wanted to kiss Tao Human. Guanzilin, who was walking behind, took off his sunglasses a little, stared at Tao Human for a while, and then put them on. They have a really good relationship, Guanzilin said to himself with some envy. The exit was too noisy, and Liu King didn't hear what she said clearly, but just held her tightly to prevent thieves. But her worries were unnecessary. There were more than a dozen burly martial artists carrying props standing behind the two of them. Which thief would dare to get close? Tao Human was not the only one who came to pick up Chen Shiping. Song Heng also came in person. I just don't know if it was for Chen Shiping or for Jet Li and Guanzilin. Hong Kong stars have a very high status in the mainland, which is very strange. After everyone got together, Song Heng found an opportunity to say that Chen Shiping didn't take it seriously, so why did he take the train here? Chen Shiping was helpless. The two places were forced to be so polite to each other, which was not conducive to unity. Some people will only be spoiled and lose their way. After the group got on the minibus, the car circled around the capital. When passing the center of Chang'an Avenue, everyone's eyes were on the towering building. It was solemn and solemn. Even if some martial artists looked down on the mainland, they felt proud at this time. The blood connection in their bones cannot be cut off. When the car returned to the factory, the expressions on the faces of those dragon and tiger martial artists could not be controlled again. Chen Shiping, who had been observing them, felt that these guys were also part-time face changing. Isn't it just that the conditions in the guest house are not as good as those in the hotel? What's wrong with the big bunk bed? You can sleep if you want. After Chen Shiping and Yuan Heping explained a few words, they let it go and let their own team take care of it. The treatment of the two leading actors is much better, but Jet Li doesn't have to worry about it and goes home directly. Guanzilin was taken away by Liu King to a hotel in the city to rest. Chen Shiping didn't want Guanzilin to come to the mainland so early at first. If he came one day earlier, he would have to pay more money. But Guanzilin insisted on coming together, and he had no choice. After arranging these people, Chen Shiping went to a meeting to discuss the preparations for the start of filming with the factory. The director of this play, Chen Shiping, was the veteran director Li Wenhe, who had filmed two martial arts films, Golden Dart Huang Xianba and Invincible Mandarin Duck Legs. Speaking of which, this director was also a latecomer, from an actor to a director, but his level of martial arts films was still good. This time, Chen Shiping invited the best martial arts stars, the best scripts, and the best martial arts director team, so even if a newcomer came in, the filming would not be bad. If it were not for safety, he would not have asked director Li Wenhe. There were not many issues to discuss in the meeting. Chen Shiping had completed most of the preparations, and the filming could start directly after the crew was set up. In the meeting room, Li Wenhe smiled and said, "It's still good to be Xiao Chen's director. Everything is done well. Everyone in the meeting room laughed immediately and joked that Chen Shiping should find them next time he made a movie. The meeting was held quickly. During the time Chen Shiping was in Hong Kong, the scene selection and props art had been prepared under the arrangement of Director Lee Wen-he. After the start time was set, the meeting was adjourned. In the evening, they had to entertain people from Hong Kong, so Chen Shiping had to prepare. After the meeting, Chen Shiping ran home. He hadn't seen Xiao Beike for a long time and missed her very much. But when he arrived at the dormitory building, he found that his door was surrounded by people. Don't worry, no one's things will be missing. Sister Lee, the what you want? Whose tape is Zhanggu Orang's? And who's this set of cosmetics? There are too many things and I can't remember them all. Chen Shiping stood outside and listened to Tao Human's voice in the room and couldn't help but smile bitterly. It's estimated that it will take a while to distribute all the things. This purchasing agent didn't get anything except saying thank you. It took more than 10 minutes for the things to be distributed. Before Chen Shiping went in, he heard a commotion behind him again. He turned around and saw that it was Liu Xiaoqing and Guan Zilin coming. The neighbors in the tube building surrounded Guan Zilin to watch the fun. It's not common to see a big star from Hong Kong. Liu Xiaoqing pulled Guan Zilin over, looked at Chen Shiping and asked, "Is your pager out of battery? Why didn't you answer my page?" "No, why are you here?" Chen Shiping asked in confusion. Tao Human also poked her head out of the room and looked at Liu Xiaoqing and Guan Zilin, smiling and greeting them. "Sister King, this is Miss Guan, so beautiful." Guan Zilin nodded slightly at Tao Human, and her expression could not be seen even under the sunglasses. But when her eyes swept across the messy corridor, her eyes under the sunglasses were very surprised. She didn't expect Chen Shiping to live in such an environment. Liu Xiaoqing smiled and joked with Tao Human. "Zilin is in Beijing for the first time, and she is unfamiliar with the place. We can't leave her alone in the hotel. Well, I'm going to come back to rest for a while and then find you." Chen Shiping missed the opportunity to reunite with Xiao Beike. Tao Human took Chen Shiping's hand and said to Liu Xiaoqing and Guan Zilin, "Come in and sit for a while. Please, both of you. Don't mind if it's a small place." Chen Shiping said with a smile while holding Tao Human's hand. Liu Xiaoqing said with a smile, "Don't think I don't know that you bought a yard in Mayanhutang. I'll go to your house for dinner when I move back. Welcome to eat, just don't come empty-handed." Chen Shiping laughed and invited them in, then turned to look at Xiao Beike and said, "I'll treat people from Hong Kong to dinner tonight. You and I will go together." Hearing Chen Shiping's words, Tao Human hummed, turned to Chen Shiping and said, "Miss Guan is so fashionable and beautiful. No wonder you chose her to play the 13th aunt." Chen Shiping pinched Tao Human's face and said, "Not as pretty as you. Lie. Truthfully, if you don't believe me, touch it. Don't make a fuss. There are guests." Tao Human patted Chen Shiping's hand and pulled him into the house. In the room, Guan Zilin looked at the small single room and felt that it was too simple. A producer like Chen Shiping actually lived in such a place. How can they be so happy living in such a small place? Is love enough? Guan Zilin felt a little jealous for some reason and completely forgot that Liu Xiaoqing had just mentioned that Chen Shiping bought a yard. Chapter 71. I saw myself in his book. In the small single room, 3 women sat together and chatted. Chen Shiping stroked the dog's head and teased Hachiko. Guan Zilin's eyes swept around the room several times and found that, although the place was small, it was decorated very warmly. When his eyes fell on Chen Shiping, who was teasing the dog, he couldn't help but think of a picture in his mind. Tao Human tied an apron and prepared the meal, and the puppy squatted at the door waiting for the owner to get off work. After Chen Shiping came back, he hugged Tao Human and said caring words to each other, and the puppy happily circled around them. Chen Shiping raised his head and met Guan Zilin's eyes, smiled at her, then lowered his head and pinched Hachiko's neck for fear that it would bite his newly bought pants. Now it was almost time for dinner, so Chen Shiping stood up and invited them to eat together. The location was decided by Song Heng at Quanju in Wangfujing. Beijingers like to invite friends from other places to Quanju the most, and roast duck is the most representative. If you don't invite them, friends from other places will think you are not authentic. Only after eating roast duck can you be considered to have come to Beijing. Just like if you haven't been to the Great Wall, you are not a true man. Wangfujing is very lively at night. Although it is not as brightly lit as Hong Kong at night, it also has the unique cultural atmosphere of Beijing. Many of the martial artists brought by Yuan Heping have never left Hong Kong. They have only seen the steel forest of high-rise buildings. Now they have a unique feeling when they see the scenery of Wangfujing. For the first time, I deeply understand what the cultural heritage of the historical ancient capital is. This is Wangfujing in the late 1980s. If you come again in 10 years, you won't have this feeling. In Gwangju roast duck restaurant, a group of more than 20 people sat in a super large box. According to the appetite of the martial artists, Chen Shiping estimated that tonight would cost at least 1,000 yuan, which was a waste. Wouldn't it be more authentic to invite these people to eat braised pork and drink soy milk? A bowl of soy milk per person. I guarantee that they will say they are full after taking a sip. Soon after the roast duck came up, Chen Shiping didn't care about the money and happily accepted Tao Human's feeding. After eating a few bites, he suddenly thought of Yu Hua, the poor kid. He had promised to treat him to roast duck, but he never did. He didn't know if he had eaten in the small dark room, or if he had finished writing the novel, because school would start soon. The dinner was of high standard, the roast duck was delicious, and the sea cucumber with scallions was also very delicious. Chen Shiping was very full, but when he paid the bill, he began to feel bad, because such money could buy several shots. After fulfilling his duty as a host, he officially started working. The training hall of Beijing Film Studio was now allocated to Yuan Heping's team for action design. According to Chen Shiping's requirements, the action should be beautiful, and the Foshan shadowless kick was designed based on Chen Shiping's description. Yuan Heping thought Chen Shiping's idea was quite unrealistic. Although it was out of real kung fu, it was indeed very good looking. As a director, Li Wenhe rarely came here. First, he was not young, and second, Song Yan had told him that he only needed to be a good assistant to Chen Shiping. This can be regarded as the senior helping the junior, but after the movie is successful, the honor belongs to him, and the other invisible benefits belong to Chen Shiping. After Chen Shiping spent several days in the training hall, he communicated the action style with Yuan Heping, and he didn't go there. There is no need to worry about Li Lianji's fighting scenes, but Chen Shiping is still a little worried about Guan Zilin's literary scenes. Guan Zilin's original 13th aunt was beautiful, but her acting skills were indeed average, and Chen Shiping didn't think much of it. This time, I have to train her anyway. Improve my acting skills. Chen Shiping's training method is very simple, that is, let Liu King take her to the museums in Beijing to wander around, and then cultivate her patriotic awareness. How can 13th aunt not be patriotic? How can you act well if you are not patriotic? If you don't wash off the impetuous money spirit on her, you can't perform the essence of 13th aunt. Chen Shiping has thought about it. After the establishment of the co-production department of Beijing Film Studio, all actors who come to the mainland to film will receive a love education. Chen Shiping had just returned to the dormitory from the art workshop that day, and before he sat down, Tao Human handed him a newspaper. Chen Shiping took it, took a look, and threw it aside. There was another article criticizing his novel. A few days ago, the latest issue of Harvest was released, and the next day, there were articles criticizing Chen Shiping and criticizing Red Wall in the newspaper. They said he was vulgar, that he was destroying social customs, and that Red Wall was a bad book. There were also Redology scholars who wrote doggerel to criticize Chen Shiping, saying that he had no talent, that his human heart was greedy, that he was pretending to be mysterious, and that he might as well be painting erotic pictures. Some people also said that the whole novel showed a kind of morbidity, and they suspected that Chen Shiping's mental state was also not good. Tao Human said with some worry, "Why do those people scold you? Even Mr. Bei has approved it. How can these people be so bad?" Chen Shiping smiled and said, "Because it does not conform to the current social atmosphere. Good works are forward-looking. It will be fine in a few years. But now..." Before Tao Human finished speaking, Chen Shiping pressed her lips and said to her with a smile, "Don't talk about these. I'm hungry, let's eat." Tao Human felt better when she saw that Chen Shiping was not affected. She was worried that Chen Shiping was holding back his anger and would make her feel bad. At this time, Guanzilin, who had just returned to the hotel from the Great Wall, was holding a Harvest magazine and reading Chen Shiping's novel. She didn't think that Chen Shiping's writing was vulgar and bold. Some novels in Hong Kong were much bolder than those written by Chen Shiping. It was just that she didn't expect Chen Shiping to write such a novel. In her impression, Chen Shiping should write very serious works, not such decadent things. Just looking at the several female characters in the novel, she always felt like looking in the mirror, especially the little nanny in the book, who was the embodiment of women's material desires. She climbed from a nanny to the position of the mayor's daughter-in-law, seizing every opportunity around her and using her body to exchange for the material life she needed. Guanzilin felt more and more sad as he read, and finally threw the magazine away and didn't want to read it anymore. But after a while he couldn't help but pick it up and continue reading. Chen Hong also felt a sense of contrast with Guanzilin. She felt that Tang Wana written by Chen Shiping in the book was based on herself. This is the most outstanding female character in the book. She seems to be the embodiment of modern independent woman, bravely pursuing love and daring to abandon tradition. But in fact, in the process of changing men again and again, she just acts as an accessory of men. Chen Hong didn't know how to evaluate this novel, but she really wanted to ask Chen Shiping how he saw himself. In fact, Chen Shiping didn't think so much. It's just that these characters are typical. Anyone who reads this novel will find his own shadow in it. If you think that the characters in the novel are yourself, you can only say that you are worrying about nothing. Just worry about it yourself, but don't ask the author of the novel. The author is busy eating cabbage. Chapter 72. My buddy is about to get rich. In the fly-infested restaurant at the entrance of the film academy, Chen Shiping looked at Yuhua, who was eating voraciously, and felt that he was like a starving ghost reincarnated. Yuhua ate a whole chicken leg and then wiped his mouth with satisfaction. Chen Shiping poured him a glass of beer, knowing that he had been in seclusion recently and it was very hard. If it weren't for the start of school, he would not have come out. You haven't been doing well recently, have you? Yuhua took a sip of beer and said with a smile, I saw a lot of critical comments in the newspaper. There are also people praising me. Why don't you say anything? Chen Shiping couldn't help rolling his eyes. It's disproportionate. You got scolded more. Haha. Yuhua laughed so hard, he was simply a bad friend. However, the controversy after the publication of Red Wall was indeed very large, but it was much smaller than Chen Shiping imagined, at least not as bad as Leo Jaya. Fidu had deliberately marked the book with how much was deleted here, which caused a lot of scolding. Chen Shiping didn't do that. He just replaced some sensitive words, and the overall scale was much larger, but it was not hyped. Old Jaya had a grand press conference at the beginning, and the book was hyped before it was released. Chen Shiping was much smarter in this regard. He was not afraid of the boldness of the text, but he was afraid that you would deliberately hype it up and make people hate it. Especially after the hype of Fidu, the sales volume reached tens of millions of copies in half a year. Who wouldn't be jealous? Chen Shiping ate the tender peanuts that had just been put on the market this year and said to Yuhua, I have good news for you. What news? Yuhua squeezed the peanuts and asked curiously. Several publishing houses have come to me. Brother, I'm going to make money. Yuhua was silent for a moment and turned to shout to the restaurant owner, give me a portion of braised pork. Chen Shiping laughed. A portion of braised pork only cost a few dollars. Chen Shiping is now very familiar with the publication of novels, but this time he did not cooperate with People's Publishing House. The main reason is that they did not come to him, probably because they thought the novel was too controversial. Chen Shiping chose to cooperate with Jingcheng Publishing House. After signing the publishing contract, as soon as the news was released, booksellers drove to the door. Now the novel has only been half published in Harvest magazine, and the legitimate booksellers want to seize the opportunity. Otherwise, after the whole novel is published, piracy will be unstoppable. The scale of Red Wall has aroused the curiosity of countless readers, and they can't wait to finish reading it. This is the market demand. The editor of Jingcheng Publishing House later called Chen Shiping and said that there were too many booksellers who came to order, and they came to the door with cars to sell it with cash. Finally, after a rough calculation, Jingcheng Publishing House was dumbfounded. They couldn't print so many books and finally had to start selling the version. The restrictions and repression of the times made the vast majority of readers have a curiosity, and the more they lacked, the more they desired. The society was afraid to talk about sex, but they had a strong verism about sex, so Redwall could be so popular. Coupled with the heated discussions of many critics, it is now forming a Redwall phenomenon. Chen Shiping was a little worried. If it was too popular and was banned like Fido, it would be too tragic. But after seeing the first payment of royalties sent by Jingcheng Publishing House, Chen Shiping threw this worry aside. 130,000. Even if it is blocked, it is not a loss now. Anyway, there will be a chance to be unblocked in the future. Suddenly having so much money, Chen Shiping regretted buying the courtyard house. If he had known, he would have waited for a while and bought a commercial house that Xiao Beike liked. However, 130,000 yuan can only buy a small apartment and then save money to buy a big one for Xiao Beike. On the outer wall of the tube building with mottled halos, several creepers are absorbing the sunlight and growing upwards. A window on the third floor was pushed open, and Talhuman leaned out of the window and hung the clothes that had just been washed on a simple clothes hanger. After Talhuman hung the clothes and turned around, she saw that Chen Shiping was only wearing a white t-shirt and went to find a shirt for him to change. The crew will take a group photo today, so wear something spirited. Talhuman muttered while buttoning him. Chen Shiping was in a good mood. After being busy for so long, it was finally time to start filming. He hugged Talhuman's little face and kissed her before running to work. Watching Chen Shiping's departing back, Talhuman raised her hand and put it against her red face. Until now, she was still not used to Chen Shiping's sudden intimacy, which was quite embarrassing. In the #1 studio of Beijing Film Studio, all the people in the Huang Fihang crew had gathered. Dozens of people lined up in several rows, waiting to take a group photo and then officially start filming. But everyone was looking at the workshop door, and the middle position in the front row was still empty. The most important person in the crew had not come yet. "Sorry, I'm late." Chen Shiping ran in from outside the workshop and said with a smile, "I wanted to be more formal, so I went back to change my shirt before leaving." Haha, Producer Chen, your wife asked you to change it. Don't mention it. Producer Chen does look good in a shirt, so energetic. Chen Shiping smiled, looked at the seat everyone had reserved for him, and walked over to sit down naturally in the middle of the front row without being polite. After seeing Chen Shiping sit down, everyone subconsciously shut up and adjusted their expressions. Unconsciously, Chen Shiping's status in the factory became higher and higher. Even though he was just a producer, no one thought he was inferior to the director. Everyone knew who was the soul of this movie. The photographer saw Guanzilin slightly tilted his head to look at Chen Shiping through the lens and subconsciously clicked the shutter to record this scene. After the shutter sounded, someone shouted, "Call 1, 2, 3. I just blinked." The photographer smiled awkwardly. He just felt that Guanzilin's eyes just seemed very affectionate, so he couldn't help but take a picture. "Just now I was just trying the light. Come on. 3.2.1. Smile." Click. This shutter officially kicked off the prelude to the start of Huang Fihang. After a lively moment, the workshop immediately became busy. Chen Shiping looked at the well-organized crew directed by Li Wenhe and felt relieved. The old director was different because of his experience. If he were to replace him, he would probably be in a mess for a while. The crew started filming, and Chen Shiping did not leave. He wandered around the crew to learn how to be a director. In the future, I must make a few movies myself, and I must win awards. I don't need to have many works as a director, but I must have some. Otherwise, relying on the golden palm that Zhu Sanguan won, netizens will definitely suspect that he is just riding on the popularity of Shine bumping. Just like Chen Cage was complained about relying on me. Not long after, the actors changed their costumes and came out. The moment Guanzilin appeared, everyone in the workshop subconsciously stopped their work. 13th aunt is beautiful. The most important thing is that her temperament is completely different from when she wears fashion. She really looks like an independent and progressive woman. Especially when her hands are dignified and put together, a kind of intellectual beauty arises spontaneously. Chen Shiping is very satisfied with Guanzilin's current state. Patriotic education is very useful. After washing off the makeup, her fashionable and coquettish appearance disappeared. At first glance, she is no longer attracted by her outstanding facial features. That kind of ostentatious beauty is all restrained, turning into a deep and charming temperament. Many unmarried young men in the workshop were dumbfounded, and even some married men were reluctant to look away. Only Chen Shiping had no reaction to this. He had seen so many beautiful girls before, so he clapped his hands and shouted, "Are you all stupid? Get to work." As soon as Chen Shiping spoke, everyone came to their senses and went to work with red faces. Guanzilin saw everyone's reactions just now, but she was not very happy. If it was before, she would definitely be happy that she could convince men with her beauty, but now she didn't think so. A woman can only rely on her body, even if she is sought after by others. She has no independent personality and dignity. Guanzilin looked at Chen Shiping, who didn't care about her beauty at all, and felt that he was really a good person who didn't care about superficial appearance. No wonder he could write a novel like Redwall, which is really a warning to women. Guanzilin pinched his fingers, feeling that there was a kind of greed in his heart that was about to be uncontrollable. Restrain. Can't be the same as before, otherwise it will destroy the image in his heart. Can't be those women in his novels. Such women, he must look down on them in his heart. Chapter 73 I Want the Lunar New Year Movie. Foshin shadowless kick. On the set, Jet Li, who was hanging on the wire, flew up and kicked out beautiful shadowless kicks continuously. When he landed, the director called cut, and there was warm applause in the audience. This was the first time many people saw Huang Fihang's martial arts moves. At this time, they were all shocked by this beautiful kick. It turned out that kung fu movies could be shot like this. Everyone in the crew knew that these moves were designed by Chen Shiping, and they admired him more and more in their hearts. Chen Shiping was also very satisfied with Jet Li's fighting scenes. The moves were clean, neat and beautiful, and simply perfect. The only thing that was not so good was that his literary scenes were a bit weak. Chen Shiping didn't think much of it. He felt that his literary scenes were even worse than Guanzilin's current ones. Guanzilin's current temperament is more and more in line with the image of 13th aunt. When there is no filming, he sits aside and reads books, and they are still reading history. Who would have thought of this? Chen Shiping himself didn't expect Guanzilin to change so much. He didn't expect that it was because of his unintentional words in the novels he wrote that Guanzilin decided to change himself. So, a tragic childhood can be cured, but it just requires help. While Chen Shiping was in a daze, the director Song Heng called someone to call him to a meeting. In the meeting room, Song Heng's face was full of worry. When he saw Chen Shiping coming, he couldn't help asking, "Shiping, when will Huang Fihang be finished? Can it be released this year?" Chen Shiping frowned, wondering if there was a problem with his retention. It shouldn't be so fast. It should be finished next month. If the post-production editing and music are faster, it will be released this year. Song Heng breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Chen Shiping and said, "Then speed up. Give me a specific time." His current situation is really not good. Although Chen Shiping has won major awards in the factory for several years, the overall awards have been beaten by the Xiang studio, and the box office performance is not good. The box office of The Haunted House Beauty headshot by the Xiang studio this year is very high, and the most important thing is that it is a cult film. Since 1987, the Xiang studio has expanded the types of mainland films with several consecutive genre films, and the box office of each movie is very high. Vigorously support newcomers, poach people from various film studios, and borrow directors, and shoot many excellent films for several consecutive years. The most important thing is that the reform of Xiang Studio is also the most successful. The reason why the director of Beijing Film Studio has been replaced continuously is also due to this aspect. If you can't do it, I will change you. If you can't do it, I will change you again. I don't believe that no one can make Beijing Film Studio better. Seeing Song Zion so anxious, Chen Shiping directly put forward his own problems. Chen Shiping said directly, "The filming of the movie went smoothly, but the soundtrack has not been solved. The orchestra in the factory is busy with other movies recently. Don't worry about this, I'll let the orchestra do yours first. Song Zion said immediately. Then help me find someone to sing the theme song. Who do you want? Tu Han Gang from the radio art troupe. No problem. Song Zion agreed to all of Chen Shiping's requests in one breath. He urgently needs a success to prove himself. There are many young people coming out of Xiang Studio. Whether it is genre films or art films, there are a group of very capable directors, but Beijing Film Studio is a bit short of successes now. Xian Zhuangxiang is good, but the previous film, The Horse Thief, was filmed on loan from the Xiang Film Studio, and has nothing to do with the Beijing Film Studio. Li Xiaohang's Silver Snake murder case last year was also good, and Song Heng also strongly supported it after taking over the Beijing Film Studio, but Li Xiaohang has no works this year, which is of no help to his current predicament. Now Song Heng can only count on Chen Shiping. He has discovered that the directors in the studio are either too old or too inefficient. Only Chen Shiping was able to set up a project in less than 2 months after receiving his assignment. Seeing Song Heng so anxious, Chen Shiping also began to worry. If Song Heng was transferred away, his investment would be wasted. Whether the next director recognizes him or not is another matter. Director, I have another request. I want to release the film around New Year's Day. Chen Shiping decided to come up with the concept of the Lunar New Year period in advance, and explained in detail to Song Heng what the Lunar New Year period was. After listening to Chen Shiping's words, Song Heng's eyes lit up, and he immediately slapped the table and said, "The Lunar New Year period is good. This concept is good. Shiping, you can do it boldly, and I will help you solve any difficulties." Song Heng's anxiety was swept away, and he felt that he had hope again. Chen Shiping is really a timely rain, a good comrade. Thinking of this, Song Heng smiled and said to Chen Shiping, "Shiping, last year the factory distributed houses, but your length of service was not enough. This year I will take the initiative to distribute a house to you." Really? Chen Shiping's eyes lit up. The house is already in hand? He has been in the Beijing Film Studio for less than 3 years, and it is not his turn based on seniority. Song Heng said proudly, "Really, you are not young anymore, and you have a girlfriend. It is too outrageous to squeeze into the dormitory." Song Heng was not worried at all that the room allocation would cause any controversy. He didn't even know if he could continue to be the factory director, so why did he care so much? If he stayed, those people would naturally not say anything. If he resigned, everyone would go to the new factory director if they had any opinions. What does it have to do with him, the former factory director? Chen Shiping got the full support of Song Heng, and the subsequent progress was much faster. Chen Shiping found several old masters of the orchestra, changed the general order into a modern song, and then wrote the lyrics himself, and invited Tu Han Gang to sing. After solving the soundtrack, Chen Shiping solved several factors that determined the success of Huang Fihang. In the end, it depends on whether Li Wenhe, the tool director, can shoot the movie on time. Chen Shiping has great trust in the basic skills of mainland directors. As long as they don't mess up, the movie will not be worse than the Zuke version. Under the high pressure of Chen Shiping and Song Heng, the entire crew made very fast progress. The people from Hong Kong didn't think it was a big deal, but the people in the factory were exhausted. In the past, it was common to shoot a shot dozens of times for a movie, but now a shot can only be passed 7 or 8 times at most, and they have to work overtime every night to shoot night scenes. If there were not so few scenes in Huang Fihang, and no need to change locations everywhere, these people in the factory might not be able to withstand such a high pressure work intensity. When Chen Shiping implemented the high pressure policy, he did not forget to give subsidies. The salary was fixed, and it was difficult for Chen Shiping to give it, but he gave a high daily food subsidy, which also reduced a lot of complaints. This money was saved from the film, and Chen Shiping didn't feel bad about spending it. He could have put the money into his own pocket, but after thinking about it, he decided not to do so. This way, he could get a lot of money without being embarrassed. At night, Chen Shiping leaned against the door of the photography workshop, smoking silently. Everyone in the crew was tired, but who was as tired as him? The pressure on him was no less than Song Zion's. He had to ensure the quality of the film while catching up with the schedule. The pressure on him can be imagined. Chen Shiping threw away his cigarette halfway through smoking, turned around and walked into the photography workshop. In the interior of the large ship set up in the workshop, the climax of the duel scene in the movie was being filmed. If all goes well, we can wrap it up tonight. Chen Shiping walked towards the interior, and before he got there, he heard cheers from inside. It's wrapped. Huang Fihang has officially wrapped up. Where's producer Chen? Tell producer Chen the good news. After hearing this, Chen Shiping quickened his pace and walked into the studio. Looking at the fatigue and excitement on everyone's faces, he laughed and said, "Congratulations on wrapping up. Congratulations to everyone for joining me in creating a new era of martial arts. Long live martial arts." Chapter 74 Chen Shiping's era has arrived. In the noisy filming workshop, everyone was cheering. Chen Shiping was surrounded by everyone. It was unknown who started the fight first. Before Chen Shiping could react, he was thrown into the air. Haha, let producer Chen also experience the feeling of being a hero. Chen Shiping, who was screaming in the air, recognized that it was Jet Li's voice. "Little Leo, you're dead. Wait for me to get off." "Ah, fuck, come again." Guanzilin, who was outside the crowd with messy hair, wrapped in a blanket, looked at Chen Shiping, who was constantly thrown up, and couldn't help but cover his mouth and laugh. This atmosphere is really good. Although it is very tiring, everyone is working hard in one direction. After more than 10 minutes, the lively filming workshop became quiet, and all the lights went out. Chen Shiping was the last one to come out of the workshop. Looking at the bright moon and the night sky, he stretched his waist and said relaxedly, "The moonlight tonight is so beautiful." "Yes, the moonlight is so beautiful." Guanzilin's voice suddenly appeared in Chen Shiping's ears. Guanzilin still had makeup on her face and her hair was messy, which gave her a sad and beautiful feeling, making people want to protect her. The cold white moonlight gave her a layer of melancholy and loss, and Chen Shiping felt amazed for a moment. His eyes stayed on her face for a second, before moving away and saying, "Why haven't you left yet? You've worked hard tonight. Go back to the hotel and rest early." Guanzilin, wrapped in a blanket, put her hair up, and said with a smile, "I'm waiting for the driver to drive over." Chen Shiping nodded. It was not good to leave her alone here, so he simply waited with her. Neither of them spoke, and Chen Shiping didn't know what to say. A man and a woman alone in the middle of the night, especially Guanzilin, who had just finished filming a scene where she was almost bullied, always makes people think about it. Guanzilin didn't know what to say. She felt very stressed when she was with Chen Shiping. She bit her lip to stop herself from speaking, for fear that she would say something she shouldn't say when she opened her mouth. Silence made the atmosphere even more awkward. Chen Shiping found a topic and asked, "Now that the filming has been completed, when will Miss Guan go back to Hong Kong? I'd like to invite you to dinner before you leave to express my gratitude." Guanzilin turned his head and looked at Chen Shiping, feeling a little unhappy. It had only been less than an hour since the filming was completed, and he asked her when she would leave. It felt like Chen Shiping was trying to drive him away. There was still publicity to be done. Didn't he care about the schedule at all? Seeing that Guanzilin didn't reply, Chen Shiping felt that the atmosphere was even more awkward. Or was it because he didn't have money? People were not enthusiastic. Fortunately, the car came at this time. Chen Shiping immediately walked over and asked, "Didn't I tell you to park the car at the door of the workshop? Did you go to take a private job?" The driver immediately explained, "Producer Chen, really not. There was a problem with the car. It will be sent for repair this afternoon. I borrowed this car temporarily." "Okay, let's go and get Miss Guan there safely." Chen Shiping was just trying to make small talk and didn't care about the facts. Guanzilin nodded to Chen Shiping and said goodbye before getting in the car and leaving. After the car started, she couldn't help but look back at Chen Shiping's figure. Chen Shiping didn't notice Guanzilin's look back and was rushing home. These days, they are preparing to move, and Talhuman is busy packing things at home. Go back early to help her tonight. In the next few days, the crew disbanded, and everyone went back to their workshops. Yuan Heping also took the dragon and tiger martial artists back to Hong Kong. The crew finished filming, and Chen Shiping did not provide accommodation. Yuan Heping didn't want to waste money. Li Liang and Guan Zilin also began to promote the movie under the arrangement of the propaganda department of the factory. All the mainland movie magazines and newspapers that could promote it were promoted. The most important thing is to build momentum for the concept of the Lunar New Year file. The rough cut of Huang Fihang has been submitted for review and approved, and the distribution issue has been discussed with China Film. China Film also strongly supports the concept of the Lunar New Year file proposed by Chen Shiping, and has suppressed other movies in the schedule. The plot of Huang Fihang is good, and the actors are still Li Liang and Guan Zilin. Such a movie may really create another Shaolin Temple myth. At this time, Chen Shiping was not idle either. He had been watching the post-production and editing with director Li Wenhe. Chen Shiping attached great importance to the final, refined version because it was related to how much money he could make. The price negotiated with China Film was 11,000 yuan per copy, but the specific number of copies would be determined after the refined version. This price is already very high, and the final number of copies that Chen Shiping will get depends on the number of copies. However, Chen Shiping is very confident that the Yellow River Warrior has taken more than 420 copies, and Huang Fihang can get at least 500 copies. The copies in the mainland are enough to make back the investment, and may even make a small profit. The box office in Hong Kong and East Asia is pure profit. After a few busy days, Chen Shiping got the refined copy from the printing factory and went to China Film to discuss the copy problem. Song Cheng also came with him. This time Song Cheng was very imposing, and he looked like he was going to fight with China Film. If there were less than 500 copies, he would definitely slam the table with China Film. Almost all the directors of mainland film studios had slammed the table with China Film, but he, the director of Beijing Film Studio who has been in office for a year, has never slammed the table. China Film has to give face, even if it doesn't want to. In the screening room of China Film, as soon as the lights came on, Song Cheng shouted angrily, 700 copies, no less. Director of the distribution department of China Film. Is old Song crazy? However, Huang Fihang can indeed get more copies. Just for the concept of the Lunar New Year period, it is worth it for China Film to push behind him. Chen Shiping also smiled and said, the more copies, the better. Now the newspapers are discussing the topic of Huang Fihang's congratulations on the new year. The Lunar New Year period is likely to be a big hit. Yes, maybe it will create a new box office myth. Song Cheng also said confidently. The people from China Film Academy looked at Chen Shiping, touched their chins and said, 700 copies are too many, 600 is better. There haven't been more than 600 this year. How can that be the same? Song Yu pointed at Chen Shiping's name that appeared at the end of the film and said, the name Shiping is worth 500 copies, and there are Li Liang and Guan Zilin. Even if each of them is 100, that's 700. The people from China Film Academy laughed bitterly. How could they calculate it like that? The more copies there are, the more money they pay, and it's not clear how much the theater chain can get. If they had known earlier, they should have organized a film viewing meeting for theater chain managers. After several leaders of the China Film Distribution Department gathered together to discuss for a long time, they finally decided to accept the conditions of Beijing Film Studio. Beijing Film Studio is the younger brother of China Film Studio. It's not easy to make a good commercial film, and there is also the Lunar New Year holiday to bless it. We can't let the younger brother down. There are many conflicts between China Film Studio and Zion Film Studio. We are very happy to see that Beijing Film Studio can suppress Zion Film Studio. We got 700 copies. The person from the distribution department of China Film Group looked at Song Cheng and said, let the printing factory work overtime to make the copies. Chen Shiping and Song Cheng looked at each other and laughed at the same time. 700 copies. The mainland box office will make money. Huang Fihang will definitely be a big hit, and 700 copies may not be enough. The higher-ups are still holding a meeting this year to discuss the issue of requiring movies to go to the countryside. There is no telling how many theaters there are from provincial to townships across the country, and 700 copies may not be enough. China Film Group will probably have to print more copies to meet the demand. After coming out of China Film Group, Song Cheng happily patted Chen Shiping on the shoulder and said, Shiping, this time we can finally be proud of ourselves in front of China Film Group. China Film Group is eager for us to be proud every day. Chen Shiping smacked his lips and said, China Film Group and the theaters are going to make a lot of money this time. Song Cheng. Suddenly he was not so happy. What happened? However, the opening of the Lunar New Year holiday of 700 copies also means that Chen Shiping Zero is coming. The update time will be between 6 and 7 o'clock in the future. I haven't saved any manuscripts for full-time work yet, so this is the only way. There will be another chapter later. Chapter 75. Who got into my bed? Chu Taohuman, who had just come in from outside, rubbed her nose and complained. The temperature dropped so fast this year, the stove hasn't even been lit yet. Chen Shiping walked over and held Taohuman's hand to warm her hands and said with a smile, it'll be fine if we move to the new house tomorrow, but we really don't want to go to the Sahalan. The house allocated by the factory is only more than 60 square meters. Taohuman said coquettishly, it's too far. I don't like Sahalan. It's so cold in winter. Then live in the family building. Chen Shiping had no objection to Taohuman's little willfulness, but he knew in his heart that Taohuman was mainly worried that the factory would allocate a house and then she would be gossiped if she didn't live there. In Taohuman's view, her man will be the factory director in the future, and his reputation is very important. Moreover, the old leaders of the factory all live in the family building, and living here can usually walk around, which is good for the future. The things in the single room were almost packed at this time. The next morning, Chen Shiping had just arrived at the public toilet and the toothpaste had not been sent out yet, and someone next to him took the initiative to talk. Producer Chen, are you moving today? I'll help you later. A neighbor on the same floor said with a smile. Chen Shiping took the thermos and poured hot water into the tooth cup while saying, there's not much stuff, don't bother. If there's not much stuff, you can't move it all in one trip. I'll go and help you later. After saying that, he took the basin and left without giving Chen Shiping a chance to refuse. When Chen Shiping finished breakfast and was ready to move things, there were 7 or 8 people waiting at the door. With just the few things in the house, Chen Shiping and Taohuman didn't have a chance to move, and they finished the move from the dormitory building to the family building with nothing. Chen Shiping hasn't been promoted to director Chen yet, and he doesn't dare to imagine what it will be like to become the factory director. It's really exciting. The enthusiastic colleagues left after Chen Shiping moved the things, and Chen Shiping invited them to dinner, but didn't even keep them. They are all smart people. They all want to save favors. Taohuman had already come to clean up the new house, and the newly bought furniture had been delivered a long time ago. Now they just need to put the things they brought in. Taohuman did not let Chen Shiping intervene and sent him to Taiping's Huang shopping mall to buy food. The housewarming must be cooked at home, and friends are coming to eat. Chen Shiping roughly calculated that there will be quite a few people coming, and they have to be divided into 2 meals, lunch and dinner, otherwise there will be no room at home. At noon, it was basically people from the factory, and it was lively for a while before it dispersed. Those who came in the evening were all Chen Shiping's friends, and there was also a friend who had not known each other for a long time, and was not sure whether he could be considered a friend. Chen Shiping always felt that Guan Zilin was quite strange, and his attitude towards him was sometimes close and sometimes distant. It felt like there was a gap when he said he was a friend, and it felt a little strange when he was not a friend. In the end, he could only draw a conclusion based on past experience. He had no money, but he still had potential, so this happened. Chen Shiping could not think of any other reasons, but after the movie was released, Guan Zilin would also return to Hong Kong, so there was no point in thinking about these things. The first person to come in the evening was Yu Hua. This guy has been in high spirits recently, and has been having a hot relationship with the female classmates in the class. He came here in such a cold day with a rosy face. It was obvious that he had done something bad before he came. After Yu Hua came in, he ran to the kitchen. After seeing the food in the kitchen, he came out with a smile to get close to his brother. Chen Shiping glanced at him and said, "Why don't you raise a dog too?" "No, dogs are more fun for other people." Yu Hua smiled and said, "You don't have to raise one yourself. If you want to play, just sneak out and take a stroll. If you want to play, just play." Chen Shiping, "You kid is talking about the best dog. Why didn't Mo Yan and the others come with you?" They went shopping. It's not fast for me to come empty-handed. Not long after, someone knocked on the door again. It wasn't Mo Yan and the others who came, but Liu King and Guan Zilin. The two have been close recently. Chen Shiping smiled and welcomed them in, and joked with the rich sister, "Your husband didn't come? You don't like him, and he doesn't like you either." Liu King said helplessly. Chen Shiping asked teasingly, "Rich lady, how do you know which one I'm talking about? Get lost, you're the rich lady." Liu King glared and walked towards the kitchen. "Amin, stop cooking, come out and take care of your man." Haha. The room was immediately filled with laughter. Only Guan Zilin smiled with a bit of admiration in his eyes when he looked at Liu King. It's rare for a woman to support a man. Soon all the students from the literature class came. Li Lianji came at noon and came again at night to join in the fun. Speaking of which, he still likes the atmosphere in the mainland, of course. The most important thing is that the pay is the same as in Hong Kong. Li Lianji thinks Chen Shiping is a person with a lot of ideas and abilities, and there may be opportunities for cooperation in the future. Soon the dinner started, and Chen Shiping also took out a few bottles of good wine. How can you eat hot pot without drinking? There were mostly intellectuals at the table, but the topics were not civilized at all, and dirty jokes came one after another. Rich ladies also came one after another, embarrassing Mo Yan and Liu Zenian, these grown men. Only Tao Min and Guan Zilin sat together, talking quietly and eating slowly. The meal took 2 hours, and the hot pot had to be refilled with water 3 times. They drank even more wine, and all the wine stored in Chen Shiping's house was drunk. Yuhua and Mo Yan sang side by side, and then staggered back to the normal university in the snow. Li Lianji was also taken home by his wife. Only the rich sister and Guan Zilin were left at Chen Shiping's house. The rich sister was flattered by Liu Zenian and his friends, and she was drunk, and occupied the bedroom, and didn't want to leave. Guan Zilin didn't have anything to do and didn't drink too much, but there was no driver to pick her up today. Liu King was also drunk, and couldn't go with her, and she was planning to go back to the hotel by herself. Tao Min and Chen Shiping were worried about Guan Zilin leaving alone. The Beijing film studio was very deserted, let alone taking a taxi, and there was not even a dog to be seen. "Don't leave tonight." Tao Min took Guan Zilin's hand and said, "Come squeeze in with us." Chen Shiping's mind was full of question marks. "Can you just squeeze in?" Guan Zilin was stunned, then reacted and said, "Then Sister King and I will squeeze in together. Thank you for your help." Chen Shiping's face turned red. Fortunately, no one noticed, otherwise Tao Min would have beaten him. Alcohol paralyzed the brain, and he began to have wild thoughts. "The 3 of us sleep in the master bedroom, and let him stay in the second bedroom alone." Tao Min took Guan Zilin and said, "Help to carry Sister King to the master bedroom." The 3 women entered the bedroom, and slammed the door. Chen Shiping sat there looking at Hachiko, feeling that he could only sleep with the dog in his arms tonight. Poor Chen Shiping washed his face and fell asleep in a daze on the cold little bed. But in the middle of the night, he suddenly felt someone crawling into his bed. Chen Shiping, who was dizzy, hugged him and felt that the touch was so soft. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.